All the startups of Swachhata Startup Challenge are requested to sit this side of the auditorium. All the 30 startups, and one person can be at the stall, and other person can be at the in the auditorium. Please deploy one person there. Please don't keep your stalls empty. हाँ, उसमें नीचे होगा रजिस्ट्रेशन. अभी करने से क्यूआर कोड नहीं आ पाएगा, बिकॉज क्यूआर कोड तो चलेगा. सो नाउ आई थिंक ही हैज टू कम. गेट में बस नाम और फ़ोन नंबर बताना है, एंड देन यू कैन कम.
Cherish.
Good morning. We will be beginning our conclave very shortly, requesting all of you to kindly come and take your seat in the auditorium. all the 30 startups who are here for the felicitation ceremony and the day's proceedings, request you to kindly sit on the right-hand side at the front of the auditorium. All 30 startups are requested to take their seats on the right side of the auditorium in the front. After they finish speaking, then the mementos will be given. No. Everybody will finish speaking, the session gets over, then I will announce the end of the session. Requesting everybody to kindly come and take their seats in the auditorium, please. We will be beginning in just a few minutes. Good morning. May I request all of you to kindly take your seats? We will be beginning the program in just a few seconds. Good morning. May I request everybody to keep their phones on mute? We will be starting the program. A very good morning to all of you. On behalf of Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, Government of India, it is my pleasure to welcome you to this one-of-a-kind Swachhata Startup Conclave. To refresh our collective memories, on 27 January 2022, Mahua, in collaboration with DPIIT Government of India and AFD Government of France, had launched the Swachhata Startup Challenge under the ambit of the Swachh Bharat Mission Urban 2.0 to provide a fillip to startups in India in the sanitation and waste management sector. The challenge has been run successfully over the last few months, and we have gathered today for this conclave as a grand finale with a bouquet of interesting deliberations and interactions throughout the day, which will finally conclude with the eagerly awaited felicitation ceremony in the evening. We also have an exhibition depicting the various solutions innovated by the participating startups, which I am sure would be of immense interest to everybody. For the inaugural session, it is my pleasure to welcome to the dais Ms. Rupa Mishra, Joint Secretary and National Mission Director, Swachh Bharat Mission Urban, Mr. Bruno Bol, Country Director, AFD, Dr. Nikhil Agarwal, CEO, Startup Innovation and Incubation Center, IIT Kanpur, and Shri Binay Jha, Director, Swachh Bharat Mission Urban. I would also like to call on dais Ms. Anindita Mitra, Municipal Commissioner, Chandigarh, Ms. Anupama Anjali, Municipal Commissioner, Tirupati, Sri Abhijit Bangar, Municipal Commissioner, Navi Mumbai, and Sri Stanzin Rabgais, Executive Officer, Leh, to come and take their seats on the dais. I would like to request Ms. Rupa Mishra, Joint Secretary, Swachh Bharat Mission Urban, to present saplings and mementos to the dignitaries on the dais. May I have the saplings and the mementos to be given to the dignitaries, please? Please come on stage, one after the other. May I request Sri Binay Jha, Director, Swachh Bharat Mission Urban, to give the welcome address?
First of all, very good morning to all of you. Today it's a great day for all the innovators. So as we all are aware that on 1st October 2021, Honorable Prime Minister launched Swachh Bharat Mission Urban 2 with the overall vision of creating garbage-free city. In a few days' time, we will be celebrating the first anniversary of Swachh Bharat Mission 2. As part of our celebration, we have begun a 2-week-long series of thematic celebration aligned to the objective of SBM 2.0. Today's conclave form part of a 2-week celebration as a build-up to the first-year anniversary of Swachh Bharat Mission 2 on 1st October 2022. On behalf of Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, it's my privilege to welcome all of you in this conclave. At the outset, I would like to welcome Joint Secretary Swachh Bharat Mission, Ms. Rupa Mishra, Country Director AFD Bruno Bosle, CEO Startup Innovation Incubation Center Dr. Nikhil Agarwal, and the commissioners who are sitting on the dais. It is also my privilege to welcome the Secretary, Principal Secretary Urban Development, who have joined with us either physically or virtually, officials from states and urban local bodies, as well as our sector partners, startups, students who have joined us today. The Swachhata Startup Challenge was conducted by Mahua from January 2022 onwards in a partnership with AFD and DPIIT to harness the entrepreneurial potential of the waste management sector in India and to promote an enabling environment for enterprise development under Swachh Bharat Mission 2. From a bottom-up approach, 3 months just after launching SBM 2.0, after 3 months we have launched this startup challenge. So those who were the winners of the startup challenge, those were given the direct entry in this AFD and Mahua organized startup challenge. The winning entries received from startup in the technology challenge. And today, this startup challenge was organized with AFD since January 2021 to 22. And the motto of this is to promote our young partners in the Swachh Bharat mission to find some cost-effective technology that can be replicated by our urban local bodies. While the JS will be giving the broad overview of the startup challenge, I hope that day's discussion and deliberation will be very fruitful and help us to formulate the required policies and roadmap for creating an enabling ecosystem for startup to flourish in this sector. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I request Dr. Nikhil Agarwal of Social Innovation and Incubation Center, IIT Kanpur, to give an overview of the Incubation Center.
Very good morning, everyone. Dignitaries on the dais, all the startups, smiling startups who are there. Always glad to see the young entrepreneurs, not so young entrepreneurs who are still trying to do hard work. Glad to see that they are trying to change the way that we live in our cities, in our villages, in our towns. IIT Kanpur extremely pleased to be here. IIT Kanpur innovation ecosystem is almost 20 years old. We started in 2001 from a modest grant from SIDBI. Some of the SIDBI officials are also sitting there who actually gave the grant, who are there with us for almost 20 years. So in 20 years time, that modest grant has grown into quite a massive startup revolution. Today we have more than 200 plus companies whom we have worked with. We have cumulative valuation of more than almost $1.5 billion. 5,000 high-tech jobs have been created through our incubated companies. We are working in 10 states. We are creating a national impact with our work, whether in cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, cleanliness, waste to wealth. And we are today one of the largest tech incubators in the country in last 20 years' time. The incubation, when we started in 2001, the concept of incubation was not so much in India. In the last few years, many incubators have started. We are working with almost all the top incubators in the country in coming up with the new technologies and new ideas all the time. So we have given quite a large space at IIT Kanpur. We are quite unique in that way. We have 2 incubation centers. One is in Kanpur, which is our flagship campus. We give residential facility as well as the office space to the incubators. All the incubators will have exactly the same status in terms of accessing the lab as a professor of IIT Kanpur. That's very unique. So if you are an incubating company, if you are a startup, you will have the same access to the labs as a professor of IIT Kanpur. That's a unique facility we give to our incubatees. We also have quite a high-tech incubation center in Noida. We have a 5-acre campus there, and we have set up dedicated facilities there. Hundreds of crores of grants we have given. We run major programs with practically all the ministries, whether the Ministry of Information Technology, Department of Science and Technology. Now we are collaborating with Ministry of Urban Affairs in Swachh Bharat mission. So we have in the current portfolio, just in clean tech, green tech, social tech and MSME, we have quite a large portfolio. We have almost 30 companies working today with us. If you look at some of the green tech companies are also coming up with a new artificial intelligence or cybersecurity technologies. So there are cross-disciplinary approach that we have for most of our companies. In the beginning of 2020, something word-changing happened, which was called COVID-19. I still remember the day, 23rd March 2020, the Prime Minister announced that there will be a lockdown. And almost all of us absolutely unaware about what the meaning of lockdown was. Initially for a week, it was good that we all thought that we'll watch Netflix and we will sleep for some time. But particularly for us, it was short-lived. In 3 days' time, we realized the crisis is quite huge. 2 young entrepreneurs who approached us and said that India has just 9,000 ventilators in the entire country. At that time, the media report says that we require 200,000 ventilators. Many of the small cities and many municipal commissioners are sitting there, they will realize that many of the hospitals, most of the hospitals in the smaller cities have not even seen ventilator, forget about installing the ventilator. Now, how do you come up with this challenge? We approached through a number of other ministries, we approached a number of countries, and everybody said, we want to help you, but we cannot help you because we have a crisis at home. So practically everyone, Philips, Samsung, everybody refused us. With our great friendship with US, Trump administration sent only 100 ventilators out of 200,000 ventilators needed. So we said, nobody gonna save us, we have to save ourselves. So we formed a committee of 20-member team, which we call COVID-19 Task Force. And you won't believe that the first images of ventilator, all 20 of us has never seen ventilator in our life. Only Dr. Devi Shetty and few others have seen the ventilators in life. So that is a marvel of Indian engineering, what story I'm telling you. Within 60 days time, from seeing the Google images of ventilator, we created a ventilator. Within 90 days, there were live patients of the ventilator, and you'll be proud to know today hundreds and thousands of patients have gone through that our ventilator without any adverse event. So 2 years that has cemented today. This company is called Nokark. Many of the municipal commissioners will know that these Nokark ventilators are now installed in the facilities in their own hospitals. So that has cemented our approach that, okay, Make in India can happen again. When I first went to the Kanpur, I realized that Kanpur is rated among the most polluted city. Of course, we live in the NCR. NCR is also does not hold that true. But now the thought process emerged that we have to make our city clean. So not only the ventilator project, we have started working on the mask project. Jokingly, internally, we say that divided by political ideology, but united by mask. So you can see the three leaders here who are wearing our mask. It becomes sort of official mask for the Indian Parliament. At that time, I remember the mask was sold for 1,000 rupees, and you have to do a jugaad to get a mask. You have to get a jugaad to get a sanitizer in March, April 2020. But we reduced the cost of mask. You won't believe today the 3-layer mask, the production cost is less than a rupee. This mask which you see is less than 12 or 13 rupees, the production cost. So from 1,000 rupees, we brought down the cost. Same thing happened ventilator. The Philips or Samsung ventilator, which are costing 20 lakh rupees, we are able to sell them in market for 4 lakh rupees. Quality and must be superior than them, not even a notch below. So number of things we did during the COVID time. We set up the Mission Bharat O2, more than 70 installations across the country, real-time crisis. So we have been working tirelessly on coming up with new technologies, new ideas, so that we can solve the problem. One of this is quite a popular company now, Pool, which is again very quick story from Ankit Agarwal. 4 years back, he came down to Kanpur and he was sitting on a ghat of Chittoor and realized in the evening that there is dumps of trucks which are coming from temples and they are pouring the temple waste into the river. And he was quite amazed to see that what they are doing. You know, morning फूल भगवान पे चढ़ाया गया था और शाम को गंगा में बहाया गया. So what we should do? So he came with us to us and he came actually with the idea that can we do something with flour? That was his idea. So some of our professors who worked with him, and today the Fool is one of the best known company in the country. Not only they are making incense sticks, you will be very glad to know, now it is a public information I can tell you. So the wallets that you are seeing here, tomorrow if you go to, in few months in fact, if you go to Champs-Élysées in Paris or you go to Park Avenue in New York, you will see the most expensive wallet for $2,000-3,000 made from flour waste in Kanpur, not from the leather. So it's a great example of what waste to wealth. Number of other companies are doing the same thing. The another example which this company is doing, they are doing in fluoroform, which is called thermocol. Thermocol is most bio-undegradable product in the world. It takes around almost 1,000 years. That's what we said. Nobody has seen it. Nobody has lived for 1,000 years. We will know. But it takes almost 1,000 years to decompose. Now we have come up with technology called fluoroform. The thermocol made of flour waste. In 90 days time, you put in the soil, it will dissolve. So tomorrow, if you buy a TV or a fridge or a AC, you will see thermocol made of flour waste. So these are the things that we are doing. Just to give you a glimpse, we have a number of startups representing in this event also. It is outside. So now we are committed to set up a startup gateway for a garbage-free city, and where we need your help. We need help of the municipal commissioners. We need help of the ministry. Ministry and municipal commissioners can do their bit, but actually the people in the startups has to come up with the solution. So we need your help in doing this. We will be working with the Ministry of Urban Affairs in setting up the startup gateway for garbage-free city. We are working closely with Wilgrow, who has initiated this program. In setting up Center for Sustainable Technology, we are working with SIDBI, Center for Sustainable Technologies, and some of the startups will be given money who will be selected and providing hand-holding support and lab access. So there is information available online if you wish to go through. My colleagues are also here. They can just raise their hand so that people know. We are working closely with Mahua in setting up the knowledge hub in the Center for Excellence Sustainable Development. And we believe that not only in sustainability has quite a large gamut in agri-tech, clean energy, climate action, ESG, the another new word which is now impacting the business. We will work with them quite closely. It's quite a large area of activity. It's all the information is there online. You can go through it. And with this, I must thank you and invite you to visit IIT Kanpur. It's not far from here. We have wonderful trains going now, Tejas Shatabdi will take you just 5 hours to come to Kanpur. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Agarwal, for the truly impressive stories about SIIC that you have just narrated to us. Over the next few minutes, we will be having a series of very interesting reverse pitches by urban local bodies to startups who have either joined us physically here or present virtually to talk about the on-ground problems and challenges which would need innovative solutions from their side. To begin the pitches, may I request Ms. Anupama Anjali, Municipal Commissioner, Tirupati, a heritage city with high tourist footfall, to make her pitch.
A very good morning to all the dignitaries on stage and our esteemed audience. I am Anupama Anjali. I am Commissioner, Tirupati Municipal Corporation and CEO and MD, Tirupati Smart City. At the onset, I would like to thank Mahua and Swachh Bharat Mission for giving us this valuable opportunity to bring forward the problems faced by the public of Tirupati and present them to the top startup heads of our country. We are hoping that the problem statements which we present today will get effective and implementable solutions for the same. Before I introduce my problem statements to you, I would like to give a small brief about my city. Next slide, please. Oh, right. Yeah. Not, okay. Where do I? Yeah. This one? Right. Thanks. So, Tirupati city is spread across an area of 27.4 square kilometers. It has a population of 3,74,000 as per the 2011 census. Along with this population, we have 1 lakh floating population per day of devotees which come to Tirumala temple for darshan of Lord Venkateshwar. So, this poses a very unique problem for us to provide corporation services to them. It is famous for basically the temple situated at the top of a hill in the Tirumala complex, and at the footfall we have the Tirupati city. Last year we were ranked third in below 10 category cities in Swachh Sarvekshan ranking. We are also the first city in South India to get Water Plus status, as well as we got the best sustainable city. Yeah, thank you. We also got best sustainable city award for under 3 lakh category in the year 2020. My first problem statement relates to, next slide, yeah, relates to Vinayak Sagar. If you'll switch to the next slide. Yeah. So as you can see in the pictures, Vinayak Sagar is our prime tourist hotspot. It is spread across 35 acres and it's basically a very large lake, artificial lake, which we have built up. The water in the Vinayak Sagar is basically treated water which flows from our 5 MLD, solid 5 MLD STP. It has a very shallow depth of 3.5 meters. Average depth of 3.5 meters with centers having depth of 6 to 7 meters. It's situated in center of the city, surrounded by residential complexes as well as commercial complexes, and it has a footfall of 6,000 people per day. Who come here for religious and recreational purposes. So given this situation, the cleaning of the Vinayak Sagar is an ongoing problem for us. And we require the intervention of startups to help us basically with cleaning of this massive water body. The main problems that we face today are, due to the shallow depth, we cannot really deploy heavy machinery for cleaning purposes. We have a acute aquatic weed situation. Since we cannot deploy machinery, as you can see from the pictures, the cleaning is mainly done manually by our sanitary workers, which is highly unsafe. This is the center for our 1 week Vinayak Chavati festival, which is the north as Ganesh Chaturthi. So in that festival, almost 5,000 idols, large idols are submerged here, as well as a lot of smaller idols also get submerged here. And not just the people of Tirupati, but even nearby tehsils and villages also come here for that purpose. Apart from this, throughout the year, all the religious festivities which goes on in Tirupati, as we have seen, the flower waste and all the waste actually gets submerged or thrown in this water body. Another important problem is, as this is treated water, the BOD is very, very high, and there's bad smell, bad odor and algae problem that we are currently facing. The solutions that we seek for this is, currently we have an integrated solid waste management plant in Tirupati, which is of 75 MLD STP. We have a wet waste processing plant of 120 metric tons and dry waste processing plant is from this place. And since it requires constant day-to-day cleaning, we want an on-site facility, a low-cost on-site waste treatment facility to be built up near Vinayak Sagar itself. Secondly, we would like to have technological solution like robotic rakes so that we can eliminate manual cleaning. This is the demand of people of Tirupati, and it frequently comes in the news also that whenever a worker actually goes into the water risking his life to clean the water body, it definitely causes a lot of public unrest, and we would like this problem to be solved. The waste that we are getting, we would like to have a solution where we can use it in a sustainable manner. Like right now, IIT Kanpur just talked about the Fool initiative. So something like that would really help our city. So on similar lines, if we can reprocess this waste. An intervention for robotic removal of the Ganesh idols, which are still there at the bottom of the lake. So these are the 4-5 main problems. Apart from this, we would like aeration system for the foul smell and BOD to be developed. So, but the key constraint here is cost. It should be, somewhere each and every initiative should be around below 20 to 30 lakhs. That would really help our city. My second problem statement is going to be the management of public services. Can you please switch the slide? Thank you. The management of public services during Tirumala Brahmotsavam. So Brahmotsavam is actually a 9 days festival which takes place during the Navratri time. That is, it starts this year on 27 September and then it continues for 9 days. So a lot of devotees actually come to Tirupati for this festival. We have a daily footfall of 2 to 3 lakh devotees. And on the day of Garud Seva, which is the 4th day, we have 6 lakh people visiting our city, and this actually essentially just doubles our population for a day. So the magnitude of problem is, you can understand the chaos that we feel as a corporation to handle the demands of the city. So this leads to some very peculiar problems. First and foremost, Tirupati is a very old city, so it has very narrow streets and narrow lanes and narrow UGDs, so due to which we face a lot of problems. Traffic situation, traffic becomes terrible. So if I move to the next slide, please. Can we move to, yeah, so if you can see, that is the real picture of Tirupati city during Brahmotsavam. So you can, I hope you can understand the number of people who show up and the traffic situation in the city. For 9 days, the city actually, basically all the services are deeply pressured. Apart from this, the stress on municipal services like water and sanitation. If we can come up with an effective system to manage that, from corporation side, we employ more number of workers, but that I think a lot more needs to be done. So what are the effective solutions you can help us with in that? And a lot of vendors just spring up in the city. So we have dedicated vendor zones, we have registration for the vendors, we do interact a lot with them, but controlling them becomes a huge problem. There's a religious sentiment. So if something can be done to regulate the hawkers and vendors showing up in the city. So, and of course, how do we deal with the increase in solid waste and all liquid waste during this time? Our capacities need to be increased and enhanced, so a plan for that. So these are the two problem statements from our city. Hopefully you all are the best minds of our country. Hopefully we'll get a, implementable solution for this. Thank you very much. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you, ma'am. We will now hear Ms. Anandita Mitra, Municipal Commissioner, Chandigarh, and her reverse pitch around Chandigarh, the city cum union territory.
Good morning, everyone. Dignitaries on the stage, the participants of this conclave. To start with, I wish to thank the team of mission for having given us the sure on the stage. The audience will appreciate what this means to we have access to machinery, we have access to manpower, at times even a lot of resources. However, what we do not have access to is R&D. We do not have the wherewithal to come up with new solutions, fresh initiatives, and we kind of get stuck in the rut. So opportunities like this, platforms like this, gives us a window to learn from not just other cities, but from bright minds like yours. So I would like to introduce my city first. I am Anandita Mitra, Municipal Corporation Commissioner of Chandigarh. Chandigarh has the distinction of being probably the only planned city in the entire country. It is known as the City Beautiful. It's a very small city of 114 square kilometer area. We have, as far as waste management is concerned, managed to streamline our processes quite a bit. If I talk about liquid waste management, there are very few parallels in the country vis-a-vis what Chandigarh has achieved. As far as solid waste management is concerned, yes, our dry waste, our wet waste, our sanitary waste, our biomedical waste, e-waste, hazardous waste, to the extent of even the floral waste, we have somehow managed to get a grip over the processes. However, today I wish to take this opportunity to present two of my problems with which I am still grappling, and look towards you to give me some cost-effective, viable solutions. Chandigarh, as I told you, is a very small city. However, it is sandwiched between Mohali and Panchkula. Also, Chandigarh had been the layout, the entire planning, the entire construction had been done through land acquisition from people who were essentially villagers. So they continue, even that basic indigenous population continues to rear a lot of animals. For a size of a city like Chandigarh, we have quite a bit of cattle population. More than 9,000. If we talk about what we have in our government-run gaushalas, cattle ponds, and what people are rearing. The problem which I am facing is the management of the solid and liquid waste of the of cattle waste, basically. So the cow dung produced is somewhere around 110 TPD. Collection is a huge problem because it is spread out across the city. We have them coming in from gaushalas. We have it coming in from the private habitations where people still continue to rear cattle. Now, the challenges which I have is, more often than not, it blocks my sewers, though I have an extremely beautiful system of sewerage laid across the length and breadth of the city. It is putting a lot of pressure on my normal composting facilities, which ideally should be dealing with the domestic wet waste and the mandi waste. So I wish to look towards you. I have explored quite a few solutions in terms of making briquettes or biomethanation. However, the problem which I get stuck with is, what do I do with the end product? And how do I make my model feasible, financially viable? These are the questions which I have not yet been able to address, though I am in the process of setting up briquette making machines. I have a biomethanation plant. So I would request the startups here to give me a solution for not just the processing, but also the collection and the management of both the solid as well as the liquid waste, and convert it into a financially viable model and a sustainable model. The next problem which I face is, I am sure what each city of the country except for a few are facing today. So though we do not have any producers in our city, because again we are a service oriented city, the marketplaces, the sabji mandis, despite our best enforcement, despite our heavy chalaning, a lot of IEC activities, we are still grappling with the issue. Though we have managed to sort out the problem of plastic waste management to the effect that yes, all our plastic waste is being collected. It is being collected by our door-to-door garbage collectors, and it is being sent duly to the duly registered recyclers, which are then recycling it and sending it to various parts of the country. So that circuit is complete. However, when I talk about myself as the head of the corporation, I am not receiving enough plastic waste to set up a plastic waste management unit which is financially viable, because most of it is taken out by my garbage collectors and sent out to recyclers. Of course, this is a livelihood issue which has pros and which has cons. So what the solution which I am looking at is, of course, there are several products across the country which are replacing plastic as of today. The main thing which is hitting all of us is none of them are financially viable to the users. Neither is the packet which is produced of degradable material viable to the sabji mandi guy or to the market guy. So we have launched a huge campaign of bringing your own shopping back to the market. But still, we really strongly feel that we need replaceable solutions to plastic, but then it has to be financially viable. So these are the two problems which I wish to pitch to you, looking forward to good solutions. And once again, I thank Swachh Bharat Mission Joint Secretary Madam and her team for having given us this opportunity to interact with all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Sri Abhijit Bangar, Municipal Commissioner, Navi Mumbai, a metro city, will now be presenting his pitch.
May I get the presentation on the screen, please? Good morning, everyone, all the dignitaries on the dais. Next slide, please. I'll start with a problem which most of the ULBs, I would say in India, face, an issue with regard to maintenance and monitoring of CTPT. By CTPT we mean community toilet and public toilet. Let us understand why this problem is serious. A city like Navi Mumbai, which has a large infrastructure of IT companies, industries, moreover many tourists come to city on a daily basis, floating population is in large number, they use public toilets. And we identify character of any city by the nature of cleanliness which is there in the public toilet. So as far as image of the city goes, cleanliness of public toilet is very important. But more than that is the issue about community toilet. I'll tell you why. Mumbai region has one of the largest slums. Even in Navi Mumbai, many of the households who live in slum area, their houses are so small that they don't have access to individual household latrine. They have to use community toilet. And if community toilets are not clean, that is a major irritant, that major pain point for those citizens who are using community toilets. Community toilet agar clean nahi hai, to that is not just a matter related to human dignity. Access to clean public toilet has a direct bearing on human capital and productivity. And even from that angle, it is very important, it is very pertinent, responsibility of the ULB to ensure community toilets and public toilets are clean. Now the problems which we face, the processes for cleaning of public toilets are almost 100% manual processes. अगर कम्युनिटी टॉयलेट के बारे में सोचा जाए, प्राइम पीरियड होता है मॉर्निंग 8 to 12 में भी 7 to 12, जहां पे मैक्सिमम यूज होता है टॉयलेट का. And if you want to keep, by the way, what is the standard of cleanliness? They say you can never be too clean. So हमने स्टैंडर्ड जो मे बी रखा था कि हम अगर इंटरनेशनल एयरपोर्ट पे जाते हैं वहां पे जितने क्लीन टॉयलेट पाए जाते हैं, कैन वी कीप अवर कम्युनिटी टॉयलेट्स एज क्लीन एज दैट? So उसके लिए you always need to have a person with a mop and his kit ready in the toilet, and a person uses the toilet, comes back, then our attendant goes inside, cleans it and makes it ready for the next person to use. Unless it is done, it is very difficult to keep those toilets as per the standards which we seek. So interventions are all manual. Monitoring mechanisms again are 100% manual. Technologies are there. जहाँ हमने QR code system किया था, there was a system of smiley based feedback system, but it has got its own limitation. टॉयलेट है वहाँ पे हम CCTV नहीं बिठा सकते हैं. So monitoring mechanism में भी बहुत सारे limitation है, and as long as manual intervention and supervisory systems are there, there is always chances of faltering. So these are the broadly challenges which we are facing. Can we have automated systems of cleaning? हमने ई टॉयलेट ट्राई किया था. ई टॉयलेट का कंसेप्ट ये था कि वहां पे फ्लशिंग ऑटोमेटिक होगी एंड इवन द फ्लोर क्लीनिंग यूज्ड टू हैपन ऑटोमेटिकली, बट अगेन मॉपिंग वाज नॉट डन. सो एंड वन अदर थिंग विद रिगार्ड टू ई टॉयलेट वाज दैट वाज अ सिंगल सीट टॉयलेट. नाउ कम्युनिटी टॉयलेट्स आर लार्ज कॉम्प्लेक्सेस विद maybe 15, 20 or more than that number of toilet seats present. तो बड़े कॉम्प्लेक्स के लिए भी if not 100% automatic, automated का benefit ये होगा कि manual intervention still could be there, but it could not be 100% manual. So something on this line can be thought about. And very important point is about the technology which we suggest should be specific to Indian youths, because हमें पता है कि जब many people go to use public toilets, जो civic sense हम उनसे expect करते हैं वो हर किसी के पास होता नहीं है. Do we really bother when we use public toilet to keep it clean for the next person who is going to use it after us? और वो अगर हो या ना हो इसका situation factor in करके technology develop की जाए, then definitely it will suit Indian conditions. So this was one particular problem. Next slide please. Next slide please. Yeah. So the next point is about waste which is generated in meat shops, chicken meat or fish shops. First problem is with regard to collection. Now many ULBs, many cities have a dedicated collection mechanism. जैसे गाड़ी है dedicated जो meat shop को जाके वहाँ पे meat waste collect करती है and then they bring it to the processing site. The problem is majority of the meat shops are unauthorized. So much so, जैसे मटन शॉप तो हमने देखा है कि कहीं पे भी बकरा टांग देते हैं. Fish, ours is a coastal city. फिश शॉप्स में तो देर आर मेनी कोड़ी महिलाएं होती है जो एक कटोरी लेके फिश बेचती है, तो दे विल गो टू फ्रॉम सोसाइटी टू सोसाइटी. कई बार सोसाइटी के सामने 1-8 घंटा बैठ जाती है. नाउ दे मे नॉट बी टैप बाय आवर कलेक्शन मैकेनिज्म ऑफ मीट वेस्ट, एंड जो वेस्ट वहां पे जनरेट होता है इट इज वेरी मच लाइकली दैट दे विल थ्रो दैट इनटू द वेट बिन ऑफ that particular society. So it is possible that meat waste जो हमने अलग से कलेक्ट करना है may not happen. So collection is something which poses a problem, and then it comes to processing. Many ULBs go, rely on composting as far as meat waste is concerned. We all know that composting may not be the most optimum way of processing meat waste. It has got its own problem. It stinks a lot. वहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम होता है पेस्ट या rodent infestation का. एरोबिक कंपोस्टिंग की जाती है. एरोबिक कंपोस्टिंग में देयर आर मेनी प्रॉब्लम. एनाएरोबिक कंपोस्टिंग मीट वेस्ट की है तो भी फिर भी दैट इज अ बेटर सिस्टम, बट देन इट इज नॉट देयर इन एवरी सिटी. सो कैन वी हैव maybe a better technology or a better method of processing meat waste which will give you alternative to composting. And here comes a very important point with regard to circular economy. I'll tell you why. अगर meat waste को हम compose करते हैं, then think about the value which is generated out of that compost. Now that meat waste can be used for processing in some other way. I'll give you an example what we are trying in Navi Mumbai with regard to fish waste. फिश वेस्ट के लिए हमने एक एक्सपेरिमेंट अभी किया है जिसमें फिश वेस्ट वुड बी कलेक्टेड सेपरेटली, जिसको प्रोसेस किया जाएगा, जिसको पहले स्क्वीज किया जाएगा सो दैट इन ऑर्डर टू सेपरेट लिक्विड एंड सॉलिड कंटेंट. नाउ दैट लिक्विड कंटेंट इज सो मच वैल्यूएबल एंड दैट डायरेक्टली गोज इनटू फिश फार्मिंग. द सॉलिड कंटेंट व्हिच रिमेन्स इज फर्दर प्रोसेस एंड दैट कैन बी यूज्ड फॉर मे बी चिकन फीड. तो इस तरीके से जो इसमें वैल्यू जनरेट हो रही है, कंपेयर दैट विद कंपोस्टिंग, एंड देन वी अंडरस्टैंड दैट सो मच वैल्यू गेन इज हैपनिंग. सो एक्चुअली जो वैल्यू उसमें प्रोसेसिंग के जरिए लाई जा सकती है, दैट डेफिनेटली कैन बी ब्रॉट. एंड हियर द sellers can be make stakeholders in that value so that they have an incentive of giving their waste to the organized mechanism which we have. So these all things are interlinked. Maybe something on this line could be tried. Next slide please. This is the last point I wanted to put forth. So much has been talked about sanitary waste. We all know it is a serious problem. First issue is about segregation and collection of biohazardous waste. We need to try tremendously in order to convince people to segregate biohazardous, और वो अलग से देने के लिए. Biohazardous में नॉन सैनिटरी वेस्ट फिर भी ठीक है, लोग दे देते हैं, बट सैनिटरी वेस्ट के लिए देयर आर स्टिल इश्यूज जहां पे लोग people are very reluctant to give it, maybe because of the social stigma which is attached to it. अभी भी many households, I'm not talking about Navi Mumbai, in many ULBs in India, many household जो सैनिटरी वेस्ट दी जाती है वो दी जाती है हमारा वेस्ट न्यूज़पेपर जो है उसमें फोल्ड करके. सो that is not the best way of doing it, and that is why the social stigma which is attached to it. Not just waste, हमें पता है कि सैनिटरी नैपकिन जो दिया जाता है वो भी कई जगह पे पेपर में फोल्ड करके दिया जाता है. This is the problem we are dealing with. So हमें इसमें what we need is mainstreaming handling of sanitary waste. What do I mean by that? Can we propose something like institutionalization of sanitary pouches? जो sanitary napkin दिया जाता है उसके साथ ही sanitary pouch दिया जाए, which will be biodegradable, which will be affordable, and ultimately mainstreaming of handling of sanitary waste requires lot of behavioral change. But then the pouches which can be given will definitely facilitate that behavioral change to some extent. So this was first point. And second is about processing. We all know incineration किया जाता है, women's hostel है जहां पे भी incineration किया जा सकता है, but then cost could be an issue. So can we have a technology which is cost effective as far as incineration is concerned? And then there are alternatives to incineration. यहाँ पे हमने स्टॉल देखा बाहर, they have given a very good alternative to incineration, and जहाँ पे reuse भी किया जा रहा है. So as far as alternative to incineration is concerned, we need to make it easy to use, affordable and green. So this is something related to processing of sanitary waste. I'll end by quoting a particular paragraph from a book by Naval Ravikant. We have a very great gathering here of startups. So there they talk about startup. What are startups? Startups are not here to change the world. They are here to save the world by bringing us innovation that advances humankind. Our universities, labs, garages create enormous amounts of innovation, and there is more coming every day. Today's challenge is delivering it to customer in ways that advances humankind. This is very important. What we are seeking, ULBs में सबसे बड़ी problem होती है with regard to processing of solid and liquid waste. We all know that those technologies are capital intensive, and that is the reason we are not talking about ULBs which are cash rich. What solutions can we provide to ULBs which are smaller size, and not just ULBs, village local bodies जहाँ पे population ज़्यादा है वहाँ पे हम solution कौन सा provide कर सकते हैं. So solutions which we seek from startups need to be affordable and very important point, need to be specific to Indian use. And last point, जो हमारा इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर वगैरह बहुत सारी इनिशिएटिव है, आज के ये चैलेंज में भी सपोर्ट दिया जाता है स्टार्टअप को. At least few technologies need to be made open source so that it can widely be adopted by many ULBs. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. I would now like to request Sri Stanzin Rabgais, Executive Officer, Municipal Commissioner of the Mountain City of Leh, to make his reverse pitch presentation.
Good morning to all. My name is Stanzin. I'm working as Executive Officer in the municipality Leh for the past 1.5 years. So unlike other cities of India, so Leh is a very different city. So basically it's a trans-Himalayan city with a cold and dry climate. So the topography, the geography, the climate, everything is different when we compare it with the other cities in India. So I would like to give a brief detail about the Leh town. So the area of the Leh town is 11.6 square kilometers with a population of 30,000 as per the census of 2011. And currently the estimated current population is around 43,000. So as you all know that Leh is a very, a tourist hotspot area. So it's a famous tourist destination. A lot of people, travel to Leh for tourism activity. So tourism and waste has a correlation in Leh town. I believe it should be same in other touristic destination as well. So starting with the problem statement of Leh town. So first is the functionality of toilet during winters. So basically, Leh has a traditional dry toilet system. So every household have a dry toilet. But the public and community toilets are just like the other cities. So which is, the water run toilets. So Leh has a very, a drastic change in temperature during winters because we have witnessed the temperatures goes down below something around, minus 25 degrees in winters. So it becomes very difficult for ULB or municipality to run a public toilet or community toilet. Because the water gets freezes, you cannot, provide the tap water or, so this was the basic, the problem that we were facing. And second was the collection, efficiency and processing of municipal solid waste. So until 2019, Leh did not used to have any kind of, the treatment of municipal solid waste. Maybe because of lack of funds, lack of knowledge. At that time, the Leh was a part of Jammu and Kashmir, erstwhile Jammu and Kashmir state. And the third problem is the street sweeping in the market and high tourist footfall area. See, Leh is a small town with a very narrow street, narrow roads, where street sweeping in the market is very, challenging and difficult for ULB. So next slide, please. The key challenges were, due to the extreme, the cold climate during winters, the wet waste which Leh is producing, it get freezes. All the community bins which were placed in open areas, they get freeze. So it was It was creating nuisance for the nearby locality. The stray dogs were coming in, going out, and it was even difficult for the municipality, the vehicle to to remove or to collect the community bins. And since the Leh remains close with the rest of country for nearly about 6 months, for which we have to store the process waste at our plant, and we have a legacy waste in Leh where we have witnessed a very frequent fire incident occurred, and the community toilets and public toilets were not equipped with winter-friendly technology or infrastructure. So next slide, please. So what we have, we have found the solution to our problems is that in 2017, a municipality in collaboration with an NGO called Ladakh Ecological Development Group, we have constructed an all-weather winter-friendly passive solar. So it's running successfully, and we are basically in the process of developing or creating other existing public toilets to make it winter friendly by retrofitting. And if we talk about the legacy waste in management in Leh town, so we have a legacy waste in Leh since 30 years. So before the commencement or the announcement of SBM 2.0, right after the formation of UT Ladakh, the UT administration has started working on the cleaning of legacy waste, and so far around 10,000 metric ton waste has been processed, and approximately 17,500 square meter of land has been reclaimed. And we have also procured many mechanical sweeping machine which we operate during the dark hours, because during the day hours it is quite difficult for us due to the traffic. And many other activities are in place to improve our fleets for better collection efficiency of solid waste management. So I would request the startups, all startups here to to visit Leh, because your product or your technology may be useful or effective to other cities, but Leh is a very different city. So you should come and see the problem and what kind of solution you can provide after witnessing the problem in Leh. At last, I would like to thank the Mahua and SBM team to invite me here for this event. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. We've just heard a range of challenges that are being faced by ULBs across a variety of contexts, be they mountain cities, places of religious tourism, metro cities, union territories, etc. And we are hopeful that innovative solutions for each of these problems will shortly be forthcoming. I would now like to request Mr. Bruno Bohl, Country Director, AFD, to address the audience.
Very good morning, Honorable Secretary and Mission Director of the Swachh Bharat Mission, respected municipal commissioners, all startup representatives and all distinguished guests in the room. Very good morning to all of you. I'm Bruno Bohl, the Country Director of the French Open Agency. It's of course a great pleasure, a great pride to be in front of you today and to participate to this conclave. when we embark upon the journey 1 year ago, as far as concerns this Swachhata Startup Challenge under the Indo-French collaboration, we were not expecting, or we are not aware that we will have such a tremendous, such a dynamic, let's say, initiative and result. Of course, India is the world's third largest ecosystem, and at some point it should not be a surprise. However, when we enter in the startup sectors, the difficulties is to identify what we could bring, which has not been done already. In India, as it has been mentioned, India has set up several already schemes, system, and you have multiple stakeholders, in fact, to support this very dynamic startup ecosystem. So what was interesting, and I guess what has been the value added of this initiative we have co-construct with MOA, is of course first to focus on specifically on the waste management issues, which have been highlighted by the different municipal commissions this morning, but also in fact to identify through a specific process which bricks we could bring to the startups. And for this, in fact, this initiative has been designed with a MOA team, and in fact to identify at which level we should intervene with the startups. And that's the reason why this challenge has been designed, and the startup has been selected through a robust process with the juries combining expert and professional of the ecosystem to identify those who are at a stage where they still need some support provided by the public sector, represented by IFD and the MOA, but also at the same time which are already in the process to build their own journey by themselves, and in fact, so to create and to bring to them what is missing to them to go to the next stage. The second aspect, which to me is very key in this initiative, is of course to bring visibility to this startup and to their innovations, of course, because there is so many good ideas in India which are coming from different parts of the country, and so many, of course, challenges and issues which are coming on a daily basis to the citizens of cities. So the key point, of course, is giving this visibility and also to connecting dots. And that's what this conclave is doing today, in fact, is connecting dots, allowing, in fact, to key representative of ULBs and government officials to meet and to discover, of course, you as a startup, your ideas, your innovation, and of course, which you could bring as innovation on the daily basis. The last point to me, which is important, of course, is to mention that for us, the waste management is an important part of what IFD is willing to contribute in India, and we are working closely with MOA since a long time as a partner, and we'd like, of course, to thank once again the Swachhata mission for giving us the opportunity to participate to this innovation and initiative. I'm very pleased and honored, of course, to mention that this challenge is not only to provide a prize and award, but also, in fact, is to implement collaboration and to implement also a support during 1 year, meaning those who are going to be selected, and I look forward, of course, to the result of the award ceremony tonight, will be, of course, accompanied during 1 year with a customized support to ensure that their innovation can really reach this second stage, and later can also find and be really bankable at the end project and innovation. And that may be my last point, referring, of course, what has been discussed, is innovation is very key, in fact, to respond to the issues, but also what is important, of course, is for startup to find the right project which also fits with its market, and of course, when this project remain or becomes bankable, that's where, in fact, of course, this project and this startup can grow and become, of course, successful companies. So in conclusion, I would like to congratulate, of course, the Swachhata mission, our long-term partner and the team for hosting this great event, and our implementing partner Vilgro was working with us on this startup challenge, and of course all the startups which are in the room today for bringing to us all this new fresh and refreshing idea. Yes, I say twice, fresh and refreshing. That's really the feeling that I have when I'm meeting the startup. It's always it's very enthusiastic for me to meet them and to discover all their dynamic and what they are bringing to us. So thank you very much. All my sincere gratitude to all of you, and I look forward to hearing all the panelists this afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Bull. Ms. Rupa Mishra, Joint Secretary and National Mission Director, Swachh Bharat Mission Urban, will now be addressing the audience.
Namaskar, and a very good morning to all assembled participants of the Swachh Startup Conclave, dignitaries on the dais, most welcome guests who've joined here physically, and all those who are watching us virtually right now. It's a moment of great pride as we are about to complete 1 year of the 2.0 mission with a great vision that the Honorable Prime Minister placed before us, and also a very challenging one, and that is garbage-free cities. Friends, for a few seconds, I will take you back to 2014, the ramparts of the Red Fort, from where a dream that looked quite impossible at that point of time was placed before us by none other than our Prime Minister, and that was to steer India into a Swachh Bharat. And the first call to action that was given to us was to take the country away from open defecation. So from freedom of open defecation to today, what we call as freedom from garbage, or rather reuse of garbage, proper waste management, and moving towards garbage-free city is what the vision mission of this particular mission is, as we stand here almost 8 years since 2014. Having said that, what is the national policy? The national policy is very clear. Number one, we leave no one behind. It's a saturation approach. Second, every city, big or small, irrespective of their administrative capacity and the financial resources, has to move in alignment with what we call as the garbage-free mission. Third, we are not, as a nation, ready to address the sector in a piecemeal manner. The entire whole and the entire gamut of sanitation and waste management is what we are about to address, and that's what the focus of this mission is. Having said that, this is gigantic. The universality of approach, the scale of challenges, the quantum of work that has to be done, and very importantly, a very specific time period, 2026, is when we need to reach and do all this. And this is not simple. And for this to be possible, we need each and every one of you, irrespective of the sector that you are in, to join hands with our mission. Only government alone can never do it. And that is why the Honorable Prime Minister placed it before the nation as a Jan Andolan. And 8 years of journey has indeed shown us what Jan Andolan can make. So from a government program, it has truly turned into a people's program. You have heard our mission, our corporation commissioners and one mission director here, and today there are many more you will listen to during the day. You've heard the different challenges which are there when we move ahead in this journey. So this is the problem statement. While it looks just like a heap of garbage, if we step back, it takes us through the entire journey of waste. So if this is the problem statement, then what is it that needs to be done? In India, today there is a very famous saying, and our friend from IIT Kanpur just shared his experiences, the statement that drives every Indian today, what is challenge for another is an opportunity for an Indian. So what is problem statement here for the world is nothing but an opportunity to all of us as a national team. And together, let's address every bit of it. And when I say every bit of it, what exactly is the expectation? The expectation is, if we break this particular problem statement into pieces, what are the different pieces that emerge? And that, in a nutshell, is the challenge that all of us together will have to address. Let's start from point number one. Every Indian wakes up in a city where sweeping is done in the morning. Every Indian would like to wake up in a city that does not falter in its sweeping. And every Indian, during COVID also, woke up in cities that were swept. While the country was in lockdown, the streets were being swept. While the country was in lockdown, the waste was being collected. While the country was in lockdown, we saw garbage not being littered around. And we saw another revolutionary thing at that point of time. When the country was under lockdown, there was an appeal to people to give the infected cutlery, the masks, and other consumables separately, and people responded, which means people respond. And for that, the message is to be clear, the logistics has to be there, and the credibility of the system to be able to come to the service has to be there. When this demand-supply, backed by communication, is established properly, the behavior pattern does get established. Which means, today, the first challenge that we are looking at, starting from what I said, sweeping. Have you ever thought what more we can do as a nation so that while garbage keeps increasing, sweeping can be done in a slightly better manner? We've had solutions where handheld machines have come up, but can they work in non-paved paths? Can they work in areas where there are bushes and shrubs? Can they work in areas where there is a lot of gravel? What kind of replacement of human resources will that lead to? Because we also need to look at employment. We also need to look at what kind of facilities we will have if we replace it by some kind of easy machinery where the replacement will happen, as in declogging it, or what will power this kind of a machine, because every machine will need a power. So sweeping, decoding sweeping is the first thing that I would like to emphasize, because no city can wake up to non-swept cities. And when we speak of sweeping, we will see the other mechanized part of it, which is mechanized sweeping. Now, talking of mechanized sweeping, we have seen revolutions happening all across the world, and even in India, there is no shortage of machines. However, have you looked at every kind of terrain? Have you looked at every kind of narrow road? Possibly not. India offers the kind of geographical challenges that no other nation offers. So when we look at the entire gamut of sweeping, whether manual or mechanized, there are a lot of solutions that would be required. Going ahead to the next step, which is source segregation, door-to-door collection, and transportation. How many vehicles are deployed every day in the country? Lakhs of vehicles. How do we bring in efficiency? How do we bring in coordination? How do we monitor whether source segregation is happening from every house? How do we bring in efficiency in all of it? I think because that is the key to this entire exercise of addressing this problem statement that we have. So solutions and more solutions are required here. The third dimension that I would like to emphasize is the entire aspect of toilets, which some of my friends said here. Toilets, toilets, and toilets. We cannot afford as a nation not to be talking strongly about it. And we have to require more solutions, not just in terms of geographically conducive infrastructure, but also special needs that also address disposal mechanisms. We have large festivals, large events. There are different kinds of requirements which are there. And even today, toilets and services around toilets is an area where much more of innovation would be required. Fourth thing is processing. Lifestyle is changing. Urban population and overall population will just increase. The kind of waste that we are generating and will generate is just bound to become become more complex. So if we look at A to Z of the waste that is getting generated in cities, what is the processing that we have to offer? Take out of 4,800 cities, there would be at least 4,700 cities. After recycling, the moment the material reaches the MRF center, they call it processing. Is that processing? No, that is not processing, which means 50 to 60% of the waste is just getting addressed or getting compiled, consolidated at the MRF and not actually being processed to the extent of end of the life cycle. Therefore, we will have to look at every kind of waste that gets generated and have solutions for the processing, because right now SBM 2.0 soul is circularity or the 3R approach. So how do we integrate? Numerous bottles, numerous packets, all of it will just keep increasing. A small thing, can we do work around the packaging industry? We say single-use plastic of so and so microns is banned, but we would need different kinds of containers, different kinds of packaging. What kind of work can we do just to reduce bottles wastage and packaging wastage? The next thing that I would like to emphasize is what we have here on screen. If we cannot prevent waste from entering dump site, this is all that we will have. Today, every city of India has this kind of a dump site. And the Indian government has decided, and it is a resolve, that by 2026, we will be clearing these dump sites. We actually need some kind of war teams behind every dump site of the country. We welcome each one of you to participate and join hands with whatever knowledge and contribution that you can give, so that we can move towards a Laksh zero as far as dump sites are concerned. Be it remediation, the evacuation of the byproducts, quality monitoring, environmental concerns mapping, whatever that you can come up with, come and let us know. We will be most happy to partner. The next one that would be required is services. Uberization, that's the model that works. Every city cannot have static equipment. Every city cannot have static human resources all around the year. There would be special requirements at certain points of time. Can we map the different kinds of emerging services that commissioners would need, that cities would need, that state governments would need vis-a-vis sanitation? And can we have Uberization of these services? Today we have some companies who have come ahead and have very good solutions like floating MRFs to clean the particular water bodies, but that's not enough. We need much more. And as one of the commissioner very specifically said, cost is a concern because saturation is the approach. So if we look at Uberization model, what are the different kinds of services that we can give in this particular sector? The next one is digital. India is known for its digital innovations. Each one of you is a mind that can power digital technology. Can you give some kind of solution that can make things simpler, easier, more implementable, more monitorable as far as addressing this problem statement is concerned? And when I say this problem statement, it is not this, but the entire value chain which I said. It could be implementation, it could be grievance redressal, it could be feedback mechanism, it could be monitoring of staff, it could be anything, efficiency of different services. For example, behavior change is a very, very important thing. I see a lot of youngsters sitting here. What I say, what he says, might not make sense to the young generation that plays such an important role for the future. Can you gamify the different aspects which are there in the sanitation sector so that we can institutionalize it? The scope for using digital as a technology is enormous, and I call upon anyone who's interested to work in this sector to partner with us. The next and the very big thing, once upon a time, the world used to be old. We used to have different kind of materials which were nice from the nature. Community feast using thalis, having steel plates, etc. Then came plastic. Life changed, our requirements changed, and plastic entered and got integrated into our life. Today, we have to look not at elimination, but at management. Because we will not be able to, on one single fine day, ever eliminate it from the way it has got integrated into our life. We'll look at phased reduction and also management. So plastic, the world of plastic and its management requires numerous innovations. Come forth, think about it, and contribute. And my last and not the least important point, as we move ahead, there is a front line of workers that is actually doing this work. All of you are aware of our armed forces that are there at the borders. We salute them. There is also a cadre that relentlessly works so that you and me wake up to clean cities. We go back and sleep in cities that are clean, and those are our sanitation workers. How can we contribute towards their safety, their dignity, their ease of working? There was a time when they held a jhadu. Today also, after 75 years, the jhadu remains. However, given the scale, given the challenges, given the multiplicity of different aspects that are entering into this sector, what can we do to ensure the health, safety, and dignity? So towards social inclusion, come and contribute solutions. So here we are today as a fraternity that is committed to garbage-free cities, that is committed towards addressing these issues by 2026. Speed is key, scale is key. Come and join us. We are open to partnerships. All my best wishes. The day is lined up with various interesting sessions. I request you to stay along and listen to all of it, and then together we can figure out different modalities of partnership to move forward. All the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. With this, we have come to the end of the opening session, and I would like to thank the dignitaries on the dais for having begun the day's deliberations on such an impactful note. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. We will now be beginning our next session, Manthan, a panel discussion around policy initiatives for promoting startups for garbage-free cities. Our esteemed panelists will include Dr. R.K. Singh, Chief General Manager, SIDBI. Dr. R.K. Singh, Chief General Manager, SIDBI. Srimati Astha Grover, Head of Startup India, DPIIT. Sri Rohit Gupta, Program Director, Niti, Atal Innovation Mission. Sri Saumil Ranjan Chaube, State Mission Director, SBM Urban, Chhattisgarh. Sri P. Ponnaya, State Mission Director, Swachh Bharat Mission Urban, Tamil Nadu. And Dr. Manoranjan Mohanty, Scientist, Office of Principal Scientific Advisor. May I request the panelists to kindly come up on stage and take their place on the dais? Dr. R.K. Singh, Srimati Astha Grover, Sri Rohit Gupta, Sri Saumil Chaube, Sri P. Ponnaya, Dr. Manoranjan Mohanty. Professor Ankush Sharma, Professor in charge of Innovation and Incubation, IIT Kanpur, will be moderating the session. May I invite Professor Sharma also to come up on stage. Before we begin, I'd like to tell you that after every session, there will be a question, there will be some opportunity for attendees to have an interaction. So we will wait for the session to get over where all the presentations and all the discussions are complete, and then we will have the question answer session at the end of each session. Professor Ankush Sharma. So I would like to hand over to you for conducting the session. Thank you, sir.
Good morning and very warm welcome to this panel session on policy initiatives for promoting startups for garbage-free cities. So let me first thank all the panelists which are on the dais for giving their time to come here and discuss the important topic which we are now having one of the major challenge in our various cities of India. So let me give you a brief perspective why we are discussing it today. The rampant urbanization and the various non-technological development which we saw in our past, which have caused to the creation of waste, and it is creating a lot of problem in the various cities of India. In my view, if we do the technological intervention in the garbage processing and waste management, this can be a good option, and there our startups play a major role in solving the burning challenge of today's environment. Now, technology is one important component, although it is one important aspect of a complete ecosystem, but it requires lot of hand holdings. So the incubation center is required for giving them the right mentorship, that is technical support as well as mentorship support, and in fact the financial support as well. The technology and the growth of a startup is one important aspect, but until unless you have a clear policy framework, it is really difficult for sustainability of the startup. So if you see that the complete ecosystem, we have multiple dimensions. We have policy intervention, technology intervention, as well as financial support to sustain a particular activity which we are having in the form of a startup. So for a startup, we need a clear goal, like what the problem they are trying to solve. And if we know that what problem we are solving, we know that we have a capability to get the solution of that problem. But it requires lot of support, so that's why we are here to discuss that what policy frameworks, what financial interventions, what technology interventions we can bring in to solve the waste management problems of the cities. We have an objective of creating almost all cities as smart cities, and a smart city require one of the important component as waste management. So let me start the discussion with this context setting. First, I would request Srimati Astha Grover for giving the perspective of what the policies as a Startup India initiative they can bring in on the table for various startups, and then we can discuss what the various policy initiatives the other organizations are bringing. Over to you, Dr.
Thank you, sir. Good morning to all the esteemed panelists, people in the audience, entrepreneurs and young minds. It is my pleasure to be addressing you all this morning on a very critical and a crucial element of waste management, sanitation, everything that follows with it. We at Startup India have been instrumental in driving the entrepreneurial mindset towards solving problems that affect the nation. as our Honorable Prime Minister say, India may be we may have 1 million of challenges, but we also have 1 billion of minds to solve these challenges that pose as opportunities. With that objective, as some of you may already know, in 2016, we started the Startup India initiative to promote innovation and entrepreneurship in the nation. आप जितने भी entrepreneurs अभी audience में हैं, be it from any sector, clean water, sanitation, waste management, agri, online services, recyclable materials, single-use plastic, any sector that you have, आपके लिए there are around 4 pillars of major support that you can expect as a part of the policy intervention which the government has taken over the past few years. Every time I have addressed startups, the key problem or the key ask is, ma'am, हमें funding चाहिए, ma'am, हमें loan चाहिए, या ma'am, हमें fund, that's all. While I will talk about the funding schemes that are available, but my ask to all the entrepreneurs before that would be, try and build your solution first. Try and test it out. In fact, all the reverse pitches that we heard this morning were amazing. To know कि on ground आपका solution चलेगा कि नहीं, or are you building it in isolation? Are there customers for your products or not? If you have cracked the product, if you have cracked the solution, everything else will follow. So now starting with the funding, which is the key ask of most entrepreneurs, we have 2 schemes. One is an early stage funding scheme for startups जो अभी अपनी early stage में है, 0 to 2 years, building the idea to a POC stage. You can expect a grant of up to 20 lakh or a convertible debt of up to 50 lakh through the Startup India Seed Fund scheme. How do you approach this scheme? Seed funding scheme के लिए आपको incubators के पास जाना है. About 108 incubators have been selected over 22 states, and it is an ongoing scheme. So more incubators are being added as we speak. But as a startup, it is a completely transparent, paperless scheme. आपको बस एक online application भरनी है. You have to be DPIT recognized, of course, to avail the Startup India Seed Fund scheme. And of course, it is, you can apply for a grant or a convertible debt. Now, let's say you're in the growth stage of your journey. You already have your minimum viable product. You already have traction in the market, and you're looking for growth capital. In that case, we have a fund of funds that is managed by SIDBI, and of course, SIDBI is also one of the panelists among us. The idea behind the fund of funds is that the government has created a fund that invests in startups through venture capital funds. More than 7,000 crores has been given to these VCs, and more than 500 startups have been funded so far. It works on a free market operation. The list of more than 80 plus venture capitals are also available on the website. आपको क्या करना है? आपको VCs identify करने हैं जो आपके sector में invest करते हैं, and then you have to approach them. As a result of this fund, जो contribution government का रहता है, the balance contribution, which is around 80% of the fund, has to be raised from private sector. And what we have seen is that there has been a 7x catalyzing effect in the funds or the pool of money that can be invested in startups. It's a beautiful scheme working well. Please make use of it if you're looking for growth stage capital. Now, the second pillar of our support that we focus is on market linkages. Like we see, एक startup को क्या चाहिए होता है? या तो they want to serve it to the customers, to the corporates, to the value chain of the corporates, or to the ministry if the end user is the government. Now, on all these 3 pillars, we help you through different associations we have with our partners. We have been actively supporting the Startup Challenge on the Swachhata Bharat mission. Idea ये होता है कि आपका solution government को दिखाया जाए. So with different ministries, we have demo days कि उन्हें पता चले कि अच्छा ये वाला solution भी है market में, how can we adopt it? Or maybe, this solution seems very interesting. अगर इसमें थोड़ा सा और pivot या change किया जाए, I can easily adapt to my locality. So with that mindset, we do demo days with a lot of different government departments, with a lot of different corporates, and all these programs are hosted on the Startup India website. If you are a startup recognized with the government, or if you are just a user, you get active emails, notifications on the website. We also help startups with international market access. I know कि अभी हम India की problems भी बहुत address कर रहे हैं, but it is also equally important to showcase to the world what we are doing at an international platform. So we take startups on a partly sponsored trip to various startup festivals. So, you know, we had Viva Tech in France. For Dubai Expo, 120 startups were there across the 6 months. We're also taking startups to Slush, which happens in Helsinki in November. And we identify various such opportunities where we could showcase these startups and highlight the best of the India innovations to the world. The third pillar, which I feel is the most important, is of mentorship. You know, at many times in your journey, you will be at a junction where you need help, where you need just a small advice, you know, how can I adjust my term sheet? What should be the negotiation value? I'm stuck with this business proposition. Who should be my end customer? So with that objective, we have onboarded a lot of mentors on the Startup India website, and it simply works as a LinkedIn, right? It's gamified. You can choose your sector, you can choose your industry, you can choose your stage, and search for either mentors, investors, or incubators around you that could handhold you in on a journey on a pro bono basis. In fact, we're also working on gamifying a digital mentorship portal called MARK, which is Mentorship, Advisory, Assistance, and Resilience for Growth, that we are building with Manoj Kohli sir from SoftBank. And we've already onboarded more than 200 plus mentors on this portal. And once we have a significant more mass, we will open it for startups. On a gamification basis, you will be thrown 3 suggestions of mentors with whom you can take the discussion forward. And these would be industry experts, these will be academicians, these will be unicorn founders, these will be investors, mentors, and all people. In fact, in the audience also, if we have people who are, you know, who want to give back to the society, please join in as a mentor on the MARK portal. Finally, the fourth pillar of how we support is through policy interventions that enable ease of doing business for startups. We have made tax exemptions that allow you to invest your profit back into the business. We've allowed for angel tax exemption, which is under Section 56A, which basically helps your investor with capital gain taxes. We've allowed for easier exits. We all have been celebrating unicorns across the nations, but we also understand that it is not easy to start up. And with that objective, we wish that if you're not successful in your first venture, you can bind up and open the next venture with ease. So faster exit norms have also been provided. We're working very closely with the states through the state ranking framework where more than 600 reforms have been made. In the end, I think I would just like to conclude that it's my honor to be associated with Startup India since the past 6 years, since the start. And I've seen this ecosystem become the 3rd largest today with 75,000 startups, 2nd largest today when it comes to the growth of startups, and the largest when it comes to the number of startups at an overall level. But what has been the biggest change is the mindset of young entrepreneurs that are now leaving their high-paying jobs to work with the government, to work for the society, and to solve problems at a national level. If you're one of these people, do associate and avail these benefits. I will be happy to share more details over the Q&A. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Ms. Grover. Thank you very much, Ms. Grover, for giving the details about Startup India initiatives and let startups know about the policies and the initiatives which you are bringing on the table. Now, the next question is that there are certain schemes which are enabled for startups to work on that. Out of that, one Atal Incubation Mission is also one of the important flagship scheme. So I would request Mr. Rohit to please tell us about the scheme and what the startups can do with that particular scheme. Over to you.
Thank you, Professor Ankush. Good morning to you all. I'll keep my noting brief and to the point, relevant to the startups who are present over here. First of all, I would like to describe what we do at Atal Innovation Mission. So, Atal Innovation Mission is a flagship initiative of Government of India, which was established in 2016 to create and promote a culture of entrepreneurship and innovation across the length and breadth of our country. AIM's objective is to develop policies and programs for fostering innovation in different sectors of the economy, provide platforms and collaboration opportunities for different stakeholders, and create an umbrella structure to promote and oversee the innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem of the country. Now, we mainly do this, and there are two relevant programs for the startups over here. The first one is the AIC program, which is the Atal Incubation Center program. We support 68 incubation centers across India, through which we have supported 2,700 odd startups in the last 6 odd years. In terms of the impact that we have seen through this particular program is that out of these 2,800 startups that we have supported, Government of India has invested 252 crores in this particular program. These startups have gone on to raise more than 1,800 crores of outside capital till date. In addition, we have also created 15,000 plus jobs. So this basically means the government is getting a return of around 27x in terms of the money that it has invested in this particular program. In terms of the incubation centers, particularly dealing with waste management, solid waste management sector, we have 9 of them across India. In all the relevant states. For example, we have some in Delhi, we have one in Jaipur, we have 2 of them in Hyderabad, Bangalore, Aurangabad, Bhubaneswar. So these incubation centers are spread across India. You can approach them, you can get mentorship from them, you can get support from them, and these incubation centers will help you reach the next level. Another program which is through which we provide funding support directly to the startups is the Atal New India Challenge Initiative, which was launched about 3 years back. Atal New India Challenge Initiative was launched for supporting innovators, creating products based on advanced technologies in areas of national importance and social relevance through a grant-based mechanism. We provide 1 crore rupee worth of funding to the startups spread across 18 to 24 months. This grant-based mechanism is also augmented through access to handholding, mentoring, and other technical support. The startups so basically what we do is that we run challenges in partnership with different ministries. So in ANIC 1.0 initiative, which was launched about 2.5 years back, we ran around 9 challenges with Mahua and 7 challenges with Ministry of Jal Shakti. We had 3 winners in one of the tracks, which was waste management, recycling, and reuse. One of the winners, just to take an example, was ReCity. ReCity is basically working in the area of circular cities, circular governance, and circular packaging. They provide ERP automation platform to various municipalities, and they have already piloted their product in 12 municipalities across India in 7 states, from Dalhousie to Konark and Kanyakumari. So, and their product has been very well accepted across the municipalities, and they are now in the scale-up phase. So, these are some of the programs through which we support startups directly. We launch ANIC challenges across the year. Right now, it is the ANIC 2.0 applications are open, and we'll be more than happy to receive applications from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rohit. Now, we have seen that to solve the problem, we deploy a lot of technologies. Say, for example, for garbage collection, we use Internet of Things, AI, ML, and in fact, drones are also being utilized for checking the location of the garbage and all those things. So, technology is one aspect of solving the problem, but we need the policy intervention which can help a startup to actually commercialize the solutions in a fast way. So now I would request Dr. Mohanty to please enlighten us related to various policy initiatives which the government is having related to the waste management.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Mohanty, advisor at the Office of the Principal Scientific Advisor to Government of India. So we had a good morning session, and we came to know various aspects of managing our waste. But one mission, actually, one of the missions is Waste to Wealth mission. It is one of the missions under PM Stack, Prime Minister's Innovation Advisory Council, in which actually we help in assisting, deploying, as well as hand-holding technologies related to waste management to create energy as well as from waste to wealth. And in this mission is to help to make India clean and green. And we have a delivery partner, Invest India, which is helping us to floating various innovation challenges. Through those challenges, we scout technologies related to waste management. It's not limited to just solid waste management or municipal waste management, related to any waste. And through those, we identify and support to some extent, I would say that. If I say one example that we did, apart from the solid waste, I'm taking it to some other aspects, just like cleaning river, in India. So we had rather an innovation challenge in which we identified one startup which helped in the floating trash in the river. So this is slightly deviating from this, just we saw from the cities, the garbage, all those dumping areas. And in this mission, actually, we are identifying those technologies which are really giving us, circular economic models. Why I'm saying so? If I give you one example of, rice stubble burning, this is a very big problem in northwestern part of India, as well as the rice wheat belt of India, and it's spreading like rapid fire across India, wildfires rather. So in this, what I found, this is more related to agricultural waste management, if I consider in that way, through some innovation technology or the conventional way of managing rice stubbles, if I see, then probably we are able to, if I talk in terms of carbon, around 20 to 30% carbon sequestered in the soil, rest is lost to the atmosphere. But if I consider in a circular economic model way, what we found, there are technologies available which can take care of around 80 to 85% of the carbon that is lost as greenhouse gases or some other person. That means to say that, but the technologies are very expensive. So we need technologies, such kind of technology where we can deploy, and they are economically viable as well as beneficial. Otherwise, the problems of stubbles burning. Apart from this, we also help in deployment of technology. We have partners from academia to startups, and we had a technology park at Jafrabad, East Delhi, and it's New Delhi Municipal Corporation is taking care of that, in which we had, we're talking about, ma'am was talking about, when the waste is segregated, the source level, it becomes very easier. But it's very difficult, the community has to be, sensitized regarding segregation of waste. But if it is not done at the source level, then what next? So we had deployed a technology, Zapper technology, which can segregate waste at the dumping areas. So this is one, it's segregated, but the kind of waste that are segregated there has to be taken care of. But we had technology we have deployed there. Similarly, when you burn it, the waste, so a lot of gases that, some are very toxic, some are very health, there are a lot of hazards to your human health. So we also deployed one technology, it's on, actually on, I would say that it is such mode funded to IIT Delhi. That technology, I would say that, that is also helping us to minimizing the toxic gas released to the atmosphere. So we are helping both in science and technology, research and development mode, side by side also, to startups or some of those small scale, entrepreneurs. Like that also we have, various kind of technologies deployed, and also we are trying to encourage, rather I would say that, through our various innovation challenges, to come forward and join there, and we'll definitely scout the technology, evaluate the technology with our experts, and giving them a platform to flourish. And one more important is even through our Waste to Wealth mission, though it is not directly related to Jal Jeevan mission, but we are also working with them, water and sanitation. There also we scout different innovation technology as well as research and development projects for different, drinking water and sanitation also. And apart from that, actually, we are also in the process of restructuring our Waste to Wealth mission, where we are going to infuse new ideas into that, so which will be, revised and published very soon in our PSA website, which you will get to know. And probably that would, help us, and rather help you to come in contact with us and get more information on different challenges and programs that are initiated by the Office of the PSA for managing waste to wealth. So thank you very much. These are some of the just about what the mission in which we are working and what are our objectives. So thank you very much giving me the opportunity to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mohanty, for giving the details about the various initiatives. Now we have two representatives from two different states, which are very important states from the waste management point of view. Let us hear from them what are the various policy interventions they are doing in their states, and where they want the support from startups and what technology intervention they want. So let me welcome Mr. Somil Ranjan Chaube from Chhattisgarh and request him to provide the insight what the different policy intervention the state of Chhattisgarh is having for waste management, and where he thinks that the startups can play a major role in solving the problems. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. Respected Joint Secretary ma'am, Director sir, and all the esteemed dignitaries. I would like to keep this interaction a little bit informal. I'm sure many of you could not point out in a map where Chhattisgarh exactly is on the map of India. We're not ashamed of that. We are a new state. We were formed in the year 2000. We are just 22 years old. So I would like to say that we are a startup state. We started from a budget of rupees 10,000 crores, and now it's gone up to 1 lakh crores. So Chhattisgarh was formed along with Uttarakhand and Jharkhand. And I take pride in saying that the progress of Chhattisgarh has been far ahead of these two other states that were formed along with it, not to demean any of them. So we are a new state, we are a startup state, we are open to new policies. In fact, we would not like to tell you what our policies are. We would like to tell the startups to come forward and tell us what you want the policies to be. Because we at the state level are very malleable in terms of our policies. We want to create an ecosystem in terms of solid waste management where everybody is a stakeholder and everybody can come in, chip in, and eventually solve the problem of waste management in the country. To go back to the year 2015, 2014 actually, where from the ramparts of the Red Fort, the Swachh Bharat Mission 1 was launched. Actually, that was the first reverse pitch that Government of India had thrown to the ULBs. Government of India asked us that you have to A, collect all the waste, second, segregate all the waste, third, process all the waste. It seemed like such a daunting task because eventually in our cities pre-2014, the scenario was that the waste would find its way to the dump yard. example, you would walk back to the school and you would kick a can from the school, a can of Pepsi, a can of Diet Coke. You could kick a can and take it to your home. Similarly, the waste would be kicked from one door to the other, and eventually to the dump yard. So that was the challenge. And it could not be solved with the basic model of contractorship that the ULBs were resorting to. So we as a state, we as a startup state, thought of taking it like a startup. We decided that we would go for a decentralized model because centralized model in all would be too cost intensive. We started with one pilot project in one small city of our state, which is AMBEDKAR. It is a small town. It has 100,000 population, and we started with a decentralized model. We thought that we would not involve contractors. In fact, we would invite PPP players. Now, when we talk about PPP, we think that a lot of conglomerates or corporates would come in with big fancy Armani suits. No, we involved the private sector in terms of women's self-help groups. There were about 300 women's self-help groups that were functional in the area of Ambikapur. We decided to call all of them in, and we threw them a challenge that whosoever self-help group would be interested in the model of waste management is welcome. What we would give you is we will give you an infrastructure where you could process the waste, you could segregate the waste, you could collect the waste, and in turn, in lieu of that, you would be given rights of collecting user charges from all the individuals. Also, the byproducts that would be made, the recyclables that would come out of the waste would belong to them. So it was kind of like a PPP project, only this time we did not involve corporates, we involved the women self-help group members. And as seed money, we put in about 5 crore rupees. We built in an infrastructure where we provided tricycles to these women, the tricycles for collecting the waste. We provided an SLRM center, which is Solid Liquid Resource Management Center, and a compost shed. So once we gave that to them, and when we gave them the rights to collect the user charges, they went on from door to door, and initially the objective was to collect all the waste, because the waste was not even being collected. Once that started, we decided to segregate the waste into wet and dry as was mandated by the MSW rules 2016. But when we did that, when we studied further, when we trained these individuals, we realized that it is not just wet and solid waste that could be segregated into. We realized that the waste can be segregated into 132 parts. And once that is done, that is most cost effective, and that would give the maximum returns to these women self-help groups. So eventually we trained them, and it took us about 1.5 years to go from not collecting any waste from any households to collecting 100% waste from every household, segregating it 100% and segregating into 132 parts, which would eventually give them a lot of return, and this model eventually became a self-sustainable model. So this was our pilot project. We scaled it up. We scaled it up to the state level. We introduced this into all our 169 ULBs, where now at present we have about 10,000 women of self-help groups who are actively involved in this model, which we call Mission Clean City, and the government funds them through some VGF in forms of capital investment in SLRM centers, in tricycles, and the cities also leverage their 14th and 15th finance funds, and this all in all has become a self-sustainable model. So this is what we've done, and I'm not here to pat my back. I am here to take this a notch forward. I have been a municipal commissioner in a city called Bilaspur for 3 years. I realized that most of my time went into firefighting. Most of my time went into making decisions that usually should not be made by a commissioner. It should actually be made because the problems are so routine that it should not involve a commissioner or a zone commissioner. What I expect from startups that somebody should come in and replace the decisions that a commissioner has to make every day, a CMO has to make every day. Because right now, we have a huge amount of data that's coming in, amount of waste collected, the number of road networks we have, households that we have, but we are not able to analyze that data. I believe there must be some startups that can come in, analyze this data, and give us a decision-making framework where the number of decisions that an administrator has to make should be reduced so that we can focus on other important parameters. So this is very important. Also, the next problem is about operation and maintenance. We have created a huge infrastructure, but we are not able to maintain that infrastructure. And it's kind of sad that despite having sole right on advertisements, sole right on policies, sole right on every land that is not private, still we are not able to leverage that, that advantage into maintaining the infrastructure that we've already created. So we also need some startups to come in and cross-subsidize advertisement, land monetization, to solid waste management, to our sewerage networks, to our water supply networks. This is we are looking at. Also, I forgot to mention, when we talk about startups, people think about drones, people think about AI/ML, people think about swanky offices, jeans, t-shirts and all that. We as a state decided to look further on the ground. We started with a Godhan Nyaya Yojana, which basically is a scheme which, in which we procure cow dung at rupees 2 per kg. We procure that cow dung and then we process it into vermicompost. What we did with that was that we incentivized cattle farming. We incentivized that people do not leave their stray cattle on the road, which are a major cause of accidents. We incentivized organic farming because once we procured that cow dung, we as a state funded them with some seed money so that they can convert this cow dung into vermicompost. And once that was done, the cities have kind of more or less become inclined towards organic farming. The dependence on the chemical fertilizers, which by the way we are running short on as a country, that has reduced. So this is a scheme in which we procured about 30 lakh quintals of cow dung and we've converted this into about 8 lakh quintals of vermicompost. This is good, and because the Diwali season approaches us, the festive season approaches us, every year through this cow dung that we procured, we make these gobar ke diyas, we make rangolis and every sort of byproduct that you can think of with a cow dung. So this is also a startup. So I believe some of the startups are welcome to the to my state of Chhattisgarh, and you are open to help us in improving this Godhan Nyaya Yojana. We've also started with a scheme for procuring cow urine now. Cow urine at rupees 4 per litre. This may sound funny, but this is also used in farming. This is also used as insecticide or pesticide, and we also invite startups to help us with that. So all in all, to sum up my arguments here, while we are looking at new technologies, while we are looking at specific solutions for sanitary pad disposals, for waste collection perhaps, we need an all-in-all comprehensive solution in which decision making can be reduced to a minimum, and we also need some solutions in which the traditional functionings, the traditional ways in which our cities function, the smaller cities function, that can be involved so that people are more involved and an ingenious solution can be worked out. I think this is my problem statement and my summary and all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Chaubey, and I rightly mentioned that Chhattisgarh is the newest state, but I would tell you that Chhattisgarh is the oxygen generator of country. It is so green that you will amaze to see the beauty of the state, and you will definitely love to stay few days in that state. And yesterday only I was there in Chhattisgarh to discuss with the Chhattisgarh Forest Produce Department, and I came to know that a lot of self-help groups are there who are working to convert the forest produce into beautiful products. And I would urge the startups to at least visit Chhattisgarh and see how these people are working on the ground. And you will get lot of problem statements, not only from waste to energy, but from other agricultural waste point of view and the municipal waste point of view, that how you can solve this problem. So now let's move to another state, Tamil Nadu. I would request Mr. Punaiya to please tell us what is the policy initiative you are bringing from the startup point of view.
Respected JS ma'am and the team, the dignitaries in the dais and startups and other participants. I'd like to explain what are all the space available in state of Tamil Nadu for startups, and the municipal governance including the solid waste management, liquid waste management is being governed by municipal administration and water supply department, and we have separate ministry, micro, small and medium enterprises, MSME ministry separately for startups. TN government has exclusively have startup and innovation policy long back, that is 2 years back itself. It is basically aimed at to provide an enabling innovative ecosystem, hand-holding technical support, ensuring adequate resource channels and extending support to social entrepreneurship. The policy formulated with the objective to promote at least 5,000 startups by 2023. The important aspects are review and simplifying labor laws, simple empanelment procedures, exemption of tender fee and EMD, relaxation in turnover, then preferential procurement by providing necessary exemption in the prevailing TT Act. This also includes creation of startup fund, startup seed grant fund, constitution of revolving fund, facilitate marketing and R&D activities. Special attention will be given to women, transgender, differentially abled and oppressed classes. These are all our policy initiatives we have taken and policy formulated 2 years back. And based on the policy formulation, Tamil Nadu Startup and Innovative Mission, that is TANSIM, has been created with a mandate to implement the TN Startup Innovation Policy. During the budget session of 2021-22, it has been announced that any startup company can avail rupees 10 lakhs as grant. This is called as TANSEED, that is Tamil Nadu Startup Seed Grant Fund. During the year 2021-22, nearly 50 companies avail this grant, of which some of them are involving in solid waste management activities. I would like to quote one such company which availed this 10 lakh grant is Waste Chakra, which is a clean technology company, plastic pyrolysis, which convert the plastic pyrolysis machine. They are producing the plastic pyrolysis machine. And for the year 2022-23, the target is to provide funds to nearly 100 companies. That is the target, and we are in the process. Apart from the seed grant of this TANSIM, rupees 30 crore is earmarked in the budget for extending support to the startup companies to be initiated by oppressed classes, that is SC/ST communities. Another rupees 50 crore is earmarked for providing grant to startup companies, those who are using emerging technologies or futuristic technologies. This is also been provided, and we are in the process of selecting such startup companies. Apart from this government grant, TANSIM also coordinating for private investors to provide funds to startups. And startup with good solutions can go for direct procurement up to rupees 50 lakhs without any tender formalities. That is also being envisaged. Then promoting incubation center is one of the major component included in the policy as well as a part of work of this TANSIM. As of now, more than 80 incubators are available in TN, and we are promoting that. And with all these innovations, and Department of DPIIT has made TN as the 11th spot categorized among leader state in the state startup rankings during 2021. Earlier, our state was classified as emerging ecosystem only. So, as far as Tamil Nadu, the status of waste management is concerned, we are lacking in this dry waste processing. To some extent, we are managed to the wet waste processing. We are that in case of dry waste processing, we are still a lot way to go. So, my request to startup companies or startups are to give some way out for that processing, and you can come to Tamil Nadu, and there is a conducive atmosphere through this TANSIM and other policies. So I request all the startups to cooperate well with Tamil Nadu state. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Punaiya, for providing the details and the requirement. Indeed, the dry and waste management is one of the major challenge we are facing in all cities. In my view, the distributed processing is more important than centralized processing, because in that way you can solve the problem of the transportation. The problem has to be solved at the origination point, means where the garbage is created. So maybe the waste bins which are there in various parts of the cities should be developed in such a way that the processing happens in that waste bin itself. Maybe the compacting of the waste, or maybe converting the waste into a useful component then and there itself. Otherwise, we will keep on facing the problem of processing the waste by taking waste at various locations and putting it to the centralized plant and reprocessing. It takes more effort, more money, and more technology intervention is required at that point. But as you know that everywhere the dollar value is something which is more important. So let's hear from the SIDBI representative, Mr. R.K. Singh, that what from the funding point of view, what the policies the SIDBI can bring on the table for the startups.
Good morning, dignitaries and friends. So SIDBI, I think everybody would be knowing, so we are not a bank. We are a development financial institution. So D comes first, development. So we always try to weave an ecosystem which works for enterprise kindling. And as I was noting down, the municipal corporations enlisted the expectations. So once you kindle the appetite of the ecosystem, you have to satiate that hunger through financing. And so I would come to that SIDBI brings in a lot of credit plus solutions rather than only credit solutions. So a few years, means almost 2 years back, we were standing on the ghats of Kashi. And then we asked people that, what do you do with these plastic bottles people are throwing? And they said, nothing, it is normal waste, it goes. And so we came back, we touched base with one industry association, then brought a startup on board, and then decided that let's start a mission, Swachh Kashi, Swalambi Kashi. So we installed a plastic vending machine, 20 machines in Kashi. And then we thought that it should be an enabler in terms of inducing people to put that bottle in that. So everybody who comes to for Ganges, they would come and fill bottles also. They will take the bottles, use it, throw it that side only. So what we did was, let's link it to Swalamban. We call it Swalamban as our mission, where we are working to induce entrepreneurship culture pan-India, and we believe that can we create a situation where each house has one entrepreneur. So what we did was, anybody coming and putting a plastic bottle, this would be crushed by this machine. And then rag pickers, we formalize them and link to this. They would lift this. It is then put to a recycling unit. And that recycling unit, like we collaborated with Dalit Indian Chamber of Commerce. So these were from SC/ST community. So that recycling plant will do the recycling. Now, how do we induce the front side? So we worked out that, okay, once you put the bottle, there would be a coupon generated. You can use this coupon and go to the nearest Swalambi, means a sweet shop also, and eat something. Second was, we thought, okay, let's have a coupon for recharging the mobile itself. And then after doing that experiment, we moved to Delhi. So we have started Swalambi, Swachh Delhi, Swalambi Delhi. And here we are trying to link it to generating a coupon which can be used for, say, using these bicycles which are there on, means it's public use, things are there. So we got guidance of MAHUA in this also, and so we have been working with MAHUA on the street vendor scheme, PM Swanidhi. So SIDBI has been powering it through digital solution, Udemy Mitra. So this is what we thought, that if you have to bring solutions, and that is what was being talked and put forth, that sustainability, the sustainable solutions. The sustainability word itself is having ability and inability both dovetail in that word itself. So ability to act, but inability to impact, and it is of no use. So how do we kindle? I will tell you. So at the bottom for startups, and even before you think of becoming a startup, what we have done is, I think IIT Kanpur, Agarwal was here. So SIDBI had set up the first center in India. That was in IIT Kanpur. It was supported by us. Then we supported National Innovation Foundation. Recently, we have supported Mr. Sonam Wangchuk. He runs a university in Ladakh, and I think Ladakh Commissioner was mentioning about this. So what we have done is we have set up a switch program within Hial University. And we tell that you have to switch on the innovation bulb and switch for entrepreneurship. So for 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th kids, they can come out with solutions, some solutions which are localized. We support them through, I call it pocket seed money. For the college and say upcoming youths, we have seed money support. And Switch is basically Swalambhan Innovation Technology Center for Himalayas. So we want that entire Himalayas should bring out solutions which are akin to that area. Similarly, we have set up we have supported one institute to come up in Northeast. There are a lot of school dropouts which are there. So we are trying to bring them and link them to innovation, and some of them can bring out innovative solutions. So that institute we have supported RK Mission in Meghalaya. We call it Salute. This is basically alternate livelihoods unit for the East. So Swalambhan Alternate Livelihoods Unit for the East. Coming to financing, so SEDBI has one of the first subsidiaries of SEDBI is Venture Capital, SEDBI Venture Capital Limited. It is since 90s we are into this space. We also manage a few state governments, the venture capital funds, including yesterday our chairman was there in Assam. We picked up to handle their venture capital fund. Coming to fund of funds, ma'am has already mentioned, so we do manage that fund of funds from SEDBI side. But when you grow up and you start looking up that I am coming out of this shell of only being in startup, and you are looking up the value chain. So SEDBI has devised a lot of programs and we converge and leverage our partnerships. So one of the program is Srijan program, which we do with TIFAC, DSC. We have supported over a few years around 38 innovative technologies. And you all will be happy that the collaboration works this way, that technical evaluation is done by TIFAC team, and SEDBI brings the financial prowess. And all 38 have got commercialized, all 38 are standard asset over the years, and some of them are bringing wonderful solutions which links up to some of the green solutions also. And then we have recently set up a green vertical, which is SEDBI is also accredited agency for Green Climate Fund. And so that green vertical we have set up, I head that vertical. Basically what we do is, so we have few schemes which are channelized through our branches and regional offices. And these are 4E and green financing schemes. So we subsume all requirements under green space which are emerging. We are trying to bring it into one scheme, because we believe that people should not remember the scheme. They should come to a banker and banker should customize the solution rather than people remembering the scheme. So this is, here we are providing for some entities who are there in the space for 3 years. We provide 100% financing with cash collaterals. For people who are just setting up, there is a different solution available. So we are looking up the entire value chain, startup to micro, small and medium enterprises. Recently, we partnered with GIZ, so we are coming out with that solution of anchoring risk sharing facility. And the nodal ministry is MAHUA and MOEFCC, they are anchoring that. SEDBI would be anchoring the risk sharing facility. And here, any solid waste management related solution emanating from SMEs, I think we can support that, and that is what is the plan. So the risk sharing facility would guarantee those investment and those funding from the lending institutions. Presently, we do one risk sharing facility for World Bank for past several years. And that is basically, we have created market for ESCOs, energy saving companies. And over the years, that fund has acted as a market maker role. And SEDBI being a guinea pig, we first do things ourselves and then invite our lending partners. So here, because generally when you enter an uncharted, unknown space, generally the bankers have also to get induced. So we attend both demand and supply side. So here what we did was, we did few cases first ourselves and then invited bankers. So we have 12 lenders who have onboarded this risk sharing facility platform. And we have channelized funds that side. So now entering the green space, we are working on different solutions, whether it is compressed biogas, electrical vehicles, the solid waste management. So thematic, sectoral funds we are working out to anchor. Now we believe that if you have to really finance the green, you have to green the financing. And for that, we have created a platform, and Country Director AFD is sitting here. So SEDBI, AFD, Shakti Foundation, we have anchored a network platform where we want to discuss good practices, evolve solutions which can finance the green, including SEDBI is working on how do we embed the environment and social governance framework within this financing. In Ladakh, we have started one program which we call Project Signature, and this is SEDBI initiative on green nature. And so we, on our foundation day, we decided to plant 32,000 trees in a pocket in Leh and Ladakh. Today we have planted 70,000 trees. But more than that, what we believe is, if you have to really kindle the economy, you have to work on the green economy. So we are working with 5 villages to make them green and set up green enterprises, including like recently we have partnered with Tata Microgrid to work in few states where we would be setting up 1,000 green enterprises to start with. We also partner, presently we are in 19 states. We have set up project management units. The idea which SEDBI brings on table is, if we can kindle the brains in the state ecosystem, I think we can help in, say, refurbishing, refreshing the state policies for entrepreneurship, startup, MSME, kindling and all. So we are working with 19 states. And some of the states, we have also helped them in terms of not only revisiting this, but bringing good practices from other states and trying to embed it into the state ecosystems. So I think for startups to look up the value chain, the solutions are available. You need to be aware about different schemes and institutions which are there, because a few days back we were attending a conference and World Bank country director mentioned that everything green is development and development is green. So the next few years are going to be concentrated on this, and bankers, we as a bankers are aligning ourselves to this, and as a DFI anchoring this, we are very much into this with prioritized focus. Including, we are working with few municipal corporations through our SEDBI Cluster Development Fund, where we are supporting state governments for hard infrastructure development in clusters. And some of the states which are totally tourism aligned, like Leh and Ladakh, like we are working with Goa government also. There we are working with different verticals and departments of like state governments. And any hard infrastructure support, including these common utility places, are being supported. It's a concessional funding which has come from Government of India and Reserve Bank. And SEDBI is channelizing. Presently, we have reached out to 7 states and have given around 1,300 crores in short span of 8 to 9 months. We intend to work more with state governments to kindle this part also. So this is the broad overview. You can visit SEDBI website. You can give me a tinkle anytime because every problem which is thrown to us, we are looking to have solutions the way you also do as a startup. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. And one important point which you mentioned related to the Varanasi Ghat, the coupon one. So I would request Mahua to please look at this aspect as well. Generally what happens that in all corporates we see that there is a method of discounting. Whatever you buy, maybe FMCG or white good, you get lot of discounts from the companies. So is it possible to bring all those corporates onto one table and include the Swachhata mission as part of their the discounting activities? So this will work in this way that say someone is dropping the garbage in a proper waste bin, and he get one coupon out of that, and he can go to any shopping mall, or maybe he can go to either Amazon or Flipkart to get some 5% or even 2% discount. So what will happen, you are creating the enabling framework where the person is motivated to be disciplined to deposit the garbage at one particular location. Otherwise, I am seeing that the problem is not from technology point of view, it is more of process point of view. We as a citizen of India don't have that discipline that we will put the garbage at the right point, and we do not know how to segregate dry and waste. So if we can include the corporates and bring some discounting offer to those citizens, I think that problem can be solved in some way. It may be a little bit a try we can do, but I think it should work. So that is one aspect from my side, and in summary I would say that we have lot of initiatives from government, from various funding agencies, and from the incubation center particularly. But I would like to give one message to startups that everywhere you need not to think in terms of rocket science. Something will come on the way when you really think about the problem. So rather than thinking a technology into innovation, you should first put empathy that what the problem is and how the person is facing that problem, and you solve it. Sometimes you can just simply provide the process innovation and problem can be solved. So I would suggest that if you can bring some process innovations as well on the table to solve the waste management problem for the cities, it will be really a good contribution from the startup side to the nation. So with this, I would like to thank all the panelists on the dais and all the members who are sitting off the dais for listening to all the panelists. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We would like to open the floor for one or two questions. I believe there's a question from that side. Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. Hi, I'm Sushil Vaishnav, founder for the KNP Arises Green Energy. We are into waste to energy. We are currently collecting the waste cooking oil and then converting into biodiesel and also the aviation fuel. So for us is the biggest challenge is as coming directly to the money. So as Sir has mentioned, the green funds. There are a lot many policies, but once we go to the bank will ask for the collateral. So do we have any collateral free, like some schemes where we can get the funds? Question for the Dr. Ravindra Kumar.
So, like you must be aware about CGTMSC, Credit Guarantee Fund Trust for Micro and Small Enterprises. They are guaranteeing loans up to 2 crores, and it is managed by SIDBI only. But we are also, it is likely to get enhanced to 5 crores. It is under consideration. But besides that, as I mentioned to you, we are trying to bring on board risk-sharing facilities, which can really enable lenders to lend to these companies. And SIDBI has brought out this green financing scheme, which I mentioned. So if you are in operation for 3 years or more, and so that establishes your track record, we can provide you like 100% financing with cash collateral. So this sort of bandwidth is available, and as I mentioned, we are also setting up a risk sharing facility for solid waste management, which is shortly going to be launched along with GIZ and patronized by MAHUA and MOEFCC. So SIDBI would anchor the risk sharing facility where up to 50% of the loan, the guarantees would be given right from startup to bigger interventions emanating from medium scale units also.
Do we have any more questions? So, thank you, esteemed panelists and moderator, for an extremely insightful and informative session. May I now request Sri Binay Jha to give away the mementos to the panelists and moderator. Dr. Mohanty. Sri Punnaya. Dr. R.K. Singh. Ms. Astha Grover. Professor Sharma. Sri Rohit Gupta. Sri Saumil Chaube. Thank you very much. Over the next few minutes, we will now have a very interesting session comprising of partnerships between urban local bodies and startups who will be demonstrating how they have been collaboratively addressing certain challenges on the ground. May I request the teams to come up here on the dais as I call out their names, and in the interest of time, can I request each team to stick to a time limit of 6 minutes each. The first team will be Kannur Municipal Corporation, represented by Advocate T.O. Mohanan, Mayor, Sri Vinu C. Kunjappan, Secretary, and representative of Nellika Complete Solutions. Kindly come up on stage. I would request Kanpur Municipal Commissioner Sri Shivasharanappa and representative of Quality Decor Designs to come up on stage. Our third speaker would be Municipal Commissioner Seeker Sri Shravan Kumar Bishnoi and VVoice Labs Private Limited. And finally, we will be having Sri Aziz Sheikh, Municipal Commissioner, Ulhasnagar Municipal Corporation, and Gen Robotics. May I request the presenters to come up and take their seats on the stage. Thank you. And since we are running slightly short of time, I would really request the presenters to stick to their time limit of 6 minutes. The first set of presenters, Kannur Municipal Corporation and Nellika Complete Solutions Private Limited.
Good afternoon to all. Myself, T.O. Mohanan, Kannur Municipal Corporation Mayor. My Secretary Sri Vinu C. Kunjappan and MD of Nellika Complete Solutions Sri Fahad Mohammed and Nijil Narayan, Director, is with me. According to our corporation, the startup introduced by Municipal Account Corporation is highly successful. It was started 2 years back, and at present 70 to 80% of the houses are cooperating this new venture. As per this, we are collecting non-biodegradable waste from the houses once in a month, including plastic and chappals and bags, cloths, electronic waste, etc. And it is very successful. For the detailed presentation, I invite my secretary, Sri Vinu C. Kunyappan.
Very good morning to you all. For the dais dignitaries and my friends, and especially in the part of this event from the startup groups. We just introduced an application for a solution for waste management, especially from the part of non-biodegradable waste. We are having a population, we are having 78.35 square kilometer area and having 2,32,486 populations, along with specific categorization of specific categorization of having around in residential capacity, we are having 60,059 in area, and we are having commercial stores of around 11,887, and we are having a team of one health officer along with health inspectors of 13 and junior health inspector of 32, and we are having 191 sanitation workers. As you earlier said about the technological intervention may help you to to make a more easiest way to process the entire change of their lifestyles. In waste management system, while before we are having only a simple, not in an inadequate manner, and there is no door-to-door collection is not there, and there is no proper collection center is also not there, no segregation, and not legal or general awareness is also not there in public as well as in official level itself. And there is simply we may have to be collect the waste and dump the site itself, and we may have to be finished off. Likewise, that things are to be doing on there. After 2016, SWM rules may have to become more there and make a static and strategy from the steps taken by the National Green Tribunal against the various ULBs. Based on that, we may have to be considered in a clear-cut manner, and how we may have to be solution the entire things in our corporation. Likewise, we may have to be initiated and invited for the open bid system for making a solution for the same. Likewise, based on that one team may come over there, and they initially they may have to be taken as it is an approach in a municipality nearby in our nearly 2 kilometers, not 17 kilometers nearby, where its name is Talipuram municipality. They have started of from there itself, and while we watching the same thing, based on that we will have to be examine the things, and like in that their tractors we have to find out, and we have to be taken for an open bid, and they come over there with the easiest way manner for the solution of a NLK application. Come over for forwarded for the solution for waste management system. In 2016 rules, SWM rules make a drastic changes. I express my little versions about the 2016 rules. In that way, the waste management have to be taken in a systematic manner. how we may have to be collect. In each day, how we may have to be taken out, how we may have to be allowed to the general public, how we may have to be monitoring the system. And in the public wise, administrative wise, in upcoming new generated startup wise, locally, the entire system has to be taken in a systematic manner. That the Snellica application may have to be helped to general public. So the system derived per day, they may have to collect around 7 tons of within the area, having 12 vehicles with the GIS monitoring system way, and based on that, they may have collect some of the rent from some of the service rented from there. They may have collected from the price from the public, and they are also every month they may have to be paid to corporation in a small amount, around of 4,000 rupees, 40,000 rupees per month. Likewise, they have that software may give to the a new job and new initiative for the local level people. Around 190s of ladies are to be there for daily earning bread may have to be come over through only this application, and they are also having making system of their own interest and investment and benefit from the same thing. Simultaneously, corporation is also benefited. Likewise, that one system may have to get help for the society as well as the as an entrepreneurship wise, as a corporation wise, that labor division can be minimized, then we can be decentralized things, and we can concentrate on a focused version, and rules can be also completely safer in the same manner. So this is a short time, a short presentation, a short time may have to be taken one solution, one software make a solution for upgradation of life of human beings. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our second presentation will be from the team of Kanpur Municipal Corporation and Quality Decor Designs, who make product from tire waste and have worked on beautifying various parks in Kanpur.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Vaishali Biani. I'm representing D Designs here as a startup from Kanpur. Kanpur, as whenever anybody hears the name, the first thing which comes to the mind is the pollution, which is Kanpur has been known for pollution for years, and we did wonderful projects with Kanpur Nagar Nigam there to rectify one of the area which was in the industrial town of Kanpur, that was the tire burning, taking out oil out of tires using low cheap machines, and the visit to those industries was the birth of D Designs. So I'm really grateful for Kanpur Nagar Nigam for giving me an opportunity to work in the city of Kanpur, doing the collaborations for the exchange of the tires, helping me out in doing the pilot projects there. In fact, after the successful project of the pilot project, immediately the second project was announced. So there are few things which has made D Designs a name, and has today I'm standing in front of everybody representing Kanpur as a city, industrial city. So I'll just a small brief about what actually the tires is, because every city, every ULB, every state has tire and the tire burning problem there, how illegally tires are used across India. So as per the data, if I talk about, I'll just move to next. Can you just help me out with the, oh, thank you. So there's the data around for the tires across India. Almost 180 million tires are produced in a year, and almost 1 million tires are produced per day. how many are discarded? There are various questions around tires because we daily see tires on roads, rotating, revolving, doing some or the other activity there. But we have never come across a stagnant, still tire where those tires rotating goes. So almost now the data says that almost 3.5 lakh tires are daily discarded in India. Where does that go? In UP, UP is known for the scrap market, and UP is known for the tire scrap. I visited those scrap areas. I visited the areas, the industries where tires are burnt, and the question arises, what that black smoke, where does it go? It goes in the air. That's the air pollution, one thing which is the tire is creating the problem all around. Almost, it's 13,000 times toxic than the coal mine fumes which comes out from the tire burning. The winter coming, all the villagers use tires to burn because it takes longer time than the wood. That's one of the reason of the black smoke coming out, and those villagers don't know the ill effects of the gas fumes coming out from the tires. It's highly cancerous, and the people working in and around those industries don't have a life more than 10 years. And within 3 years, they have one or the other respiratory problems. What a tire does, if one tire is converted into maybe a chair which is of 25 kgs, almost 3 times, 75 kgs of smoke or the air pollution or the carbon footprints we have saved from burning or entering into the environment. There are few areas which I also want, it's not only the air pollution or the land pollution, it's also the water pollution. Ganga being there in Kanpur, the microplastics, the research has found that Ganga has microplastics of tires which are harming the aquatic life, and from the front of anybody who sees these elements like the bigger one, the plastics which are coming out, you cannot monitor those microplastics with the naked eyes. Why repurposing we chose first, then the recycling? We do both. We do the repurpose, we do the recycling as well. Because repurposing makes the product more refined, more of a high quality if they are treated well. It saves the energy, the carbon emission, the amount of energy utilized in the system in recycling that process, and definitely provides the livelihood because repurposed products are handmade. So we repurpose the tires because tire use a lot of natural resources as well. One truck tire utilizes 84 liters of oil, crude oil. Then it utilizes a lot of natural rubber. And then where it goes after 50,000 of kilometers run, it ends up in a reactor. Is that what is the life of the tire? Where we came into the picture is, we started making planters out of it, we started making benches out of it, we started making chairs out of it, and which was much utilized in the areas where you have extreme temperature, because it doesn't break, it is an impact resistant and the weatherproof kind of stuff. After that comes the Kanpur as a city, Uttar Pradesh as a city, which has highest number of pyrolysis plants, 117 as a registered. Kanpur Municipal Corporation was the first ULB in India who did an MOU with D Designs, understanding the problem with the burning of the tires. We did a MOU and bartering system where we exchange tires and we provide these stuffs. The benches, the planters, the sculptures, the swings, everything we have provided in exchange of the tires. In fact, we have also done a project that was a pilot project which was suggested by the municipal corporation to decorate the complete park made up of tires. I would hand over this second part to the sir who's representing.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Shiv Sharanappa. I am Municipal Commissioner Kanpur. Like Vaishali ji mentioned, tire is a major problem for Kanpur because Kanpur is one of the most industrial town for UP, and we have this issue. So we did an MOU with D Designs and in our Kargil Park, there's a Kargil Park, so we made a few sculptures and benches, and along with that, like they said, she said, few planters also. So we made an initiative throughout the city in which we invited people to donate their used tires, and also we can give them these planters. So it was very successful initiative, and through social media and through FM and all, we communicated with the people, and the response was very good. And through those used tires, we made few of the very good sculptures. So this is our one of the sculptures of yeah, this is the children's park, and there were few children's equipments, and with this we have also increased the revenue of our children's park. Like for every month we generate around 2 lakh rupees revenue also. So the amount of cost which we had initially invested in this D Designs has is on its recovery mode. So this is one initiative in which we are also generating revenue, and also giving some creative spaces for the people, and also the air pollution factor is also controlled. So in our phase 2, what we have planned is we have empaneled D Designs in our Nagar Nigam, and we have already made an agreement for around 30 children's park, and also parks in for benches in around 30 parks. So this project is ongoing, and these are few of our sculptures, and this project was inaugurated by IIT Kanpur Director Abhay Karanlikar sir. And this is one new upcoming project which we have taken up in our Nanarao Park. This is a human evolution sculptures, and the work is already in progress, and in next 2 months this will be installed in Kanpur. So now this tire park has become a major attraction for all the children and also other citizens. So yeah, along with that, like we have made an agreement with our transport association, because like I mentioned, Kanpur is one of the major industrial towns, so they have a huge bulk of tires. So we are in talks with them, and soon we will have an agreement where they will give a fixed amount of tires every month, and through that we can make some more products with D Designs. But along with that, because this is a startup conclave, I wanted to mention that one issue which comes with startup is that the prices of all these products, it's not authorized. Matlab, there is no scheduled rates, so it always becomes a challenge for us, for officers, to bring it on paper. And also the startup companies, basically, usually because we have to go through all the financial procedures like tenders, in which 3 valid tenders should be there. So as officers, we always want our papers to be clean. So we always encourage these startup companies to also understand the financial rules and regulations of particular, every ULB have their own rules. So if that can be done, and also if a common platform can be provided where we can directly purchase some items or scale up all these initiatives, then it would be of great help. Because all these startups come with very creative and very innovative ideas, but bringing it on paper and implementing it on field becomes very difficult for officers. So I'm sure this startup conclave will be very helpful and give us more ideas about all these initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sri Shravan Kumar Bishnoi, Municipal Commissioner Sikar, and VVoice Labs Private Limited, that provides automated IoT-based door-to-door waste collection services, will be our next presenters. And just to reiterate, if you can kindly stick to the 6-minute time limit.
नमस्कार, थैंक यू मैम। ये एक साझेदारी है म्युनिसिपल कॉरपोरेशन सीकर और VVoice लैब्स प्राइवेट लिमिटेड के बीच में। 2018 के अंदर VVoice लैब्स के रिप्रेजेंटेटिव हमसे मिले। उन्होंने एक टेक्नोलॉजी प्रोवाइड की बात की भी, हम आपको एक ऐसी टेक्नोलॉजी प्रोवाइड करवाएंगे जिससे कि आपका जो डोर टू डोर कलेक्शन है या डस्टबिन उठाने का सिस्टम है, उसको एक हम इससे नेक्स्ट उसको हम एक आपको टेक्नोलॉजी प्रोवाइड देंगे जिससे आपको मॉनिटरिंग में मदद मिलेगी। मैंने इनको क्लियर कहा कि मैं नहीं चाहता कि कोई ऐसी टेक्नोलॉजी मैं लूं फिर मेरे वेंडर्स और टेक्नोलॉजी देने वाले के बीच में कोई विवाद है कि वो कहते टेक्नोलॉजी गलत है, वो कहे ये ठीक नहीं है, आपका सिस्टम ठीक नहीं है, हेल्पर का वेंडर अलग बोले। और ये इसको तो इस तरह से मैंने कहा भी नहीं, हमें एक कंप्लीट सॉल्यूशन चाहिए। आप इसके लिए रेडी हो कि हमें डोर टू डोर कलेक्शन एंड ट्रांसपोर्टेशन विद सेग्रीगेशन, आप ये मॉडल आए, डोर टू डोर कलेक्शन एंड ट्रांसपोर्टेशन विद सेग्रीगेशन और विद IoT बेस्ड मॉनिटरिंग। तो उसके बाद इन्होंने मैंने इनको मोटिवेट किया भी आप इसके साथ आए, और ये एक चैलेंज तो है बट आप कर सकते हैं, हमारा कोऑपरेशन आपको पूरा रहेगा। तो मैं आपको बताना चाहूंगा कि बिफोर वीवॉइस डोर टू डोर कलेक्शन नहीं था हमारा। 110 टन का सॉलिड वेस्ट लगभग नियर अबाउट सिटी का है, 2,30,000 के करीब पॉपुलेशन है। तो पहले डोर टू डोर कलेक्शन नहीं था, और जो सेग्रीगेशन था वो भी जीरो था, मॉनिटरिंग नहीं थी कोई, और पब्लिक ग्रीवेंस सिस्टम भी कोई नहीं था। कई बार जैसे कहते हैं भी डोर टू आज हमारे यहाँ पर ऑटो टिपर आया नहीं आया, तो इसके पास हमारे पास ऐसा कोई मैकेनिज्म नहीं था कि उसकी सच्चाई का पता लगा सकें। लेकिन जब से वीवॉइस आया उसके बाद में हमने जो डोर टू डोर कलेक्शन शुरू किया है उसकी एक रियल टाइम मॉनिटरिंग होती है, और बाकायदा डस्टबिन उठने की बिफोर और आप पास्ट की फोटो आती है, जो मेरी स्क्रीन पर एक ऑफिस में मैं रियल टाइम मॉनिटर कर सकता हूं। हर घर पे RFID कार्ड लगे हुए जो स्कैन होते हैं, जिससे कि कोई व्यक्ति ये झूठ नहीं बोल सकता भी मेरे घर पे ऑटो टिपर गया या नहीं गया। इसके हिसाब से सबसे बड़ा जो अचीवमेंट था वो सेग्रीगेशन हमारा होना शुरू हो गया। हमने शुरुआत में 2018 में पायलट प्रोजेक्ट रूप में इसको शुरू किया, 1 वार्ड में, फिर 13 वार्डों में शुरू किया। उसके बाद हम अप्रैल 2019 से हमने 100% इसको लागू किया। तब से हमारे पास सेग्रीगेशन वेस्ट जो जीरो था, आज 10 टन पर डे वेट वेस्ट हमारे पास आ रहा है। और वेट वेस्ट की जो इतनी बेस्ट क्वालिटी है कि हम जो खाद बनाते हैं वो किसानों की डिमांड ज्यादा, सप्लाई कम है। अब तक मैं 275 टन खाद बेच चुका हूं 3 रुपए प्रति केजी के हिसाब से। सॉलिड वेस्ट की खाद आजकल कौन खरीदना चाहता है। मैं एक बार हैदराबाद गया था विजिट में, तो वहाँ रूम की आई थिंक वो कर रहे हैं, तो उन्होंने जो इकट्ठा वेस्ट जाता है और वो मशीन से सेग्रीगेट होता है और फिर उसकी खाद बिकती है, तो वो खाद भी वहाँ ढेर लगे हुए थे, इतनी स्मेल मार रहे थे। लेकिन मेरे कंपोस्ट प्लांट के अंदर खाद बिल्कुल भी स्मेल नहीं मारती। हम आज साथ लेकर के आए हैं, इतनी बढ़िया खाद है, हमने उसको पूसा में टेस्ट कराया है, साइंटिफिकली वो बहुत ही अच्छी है, उसमें सारा नाइट्रोजन, फास्फोरस और सारी चीजें हैं। और आज किसानों की लाइन लगी हुई है, किसानों की वो किचन वेस्ट की खाद लेने के लिए लाइन लगी हुई है। 275 टन खाद 6.5 लाख रुपए में आप तक बेच चुका हूं। राजस्थान में कोई भी म्युनिसिपलिटी ऐसी नहीं है जिसने कंपोस्ट से 6.5 लाख रुपए कमाए हो या किसानों को वो खाद दी है। यानी घर घर कचरा है, और आए दिन हमारा जो जो सेग्रीगेटेड वेट वेस्ट है, आज मैं कह सकता हूं कि मैं सेग्रीगेटेड वेट वेस्ट का 100% साइंटिफिक डिस्पोजल कर रहा है सीकर। और उसका जो रियल टाइम मॉनिटरिंग जो इनके द्वारा टेक्नोलॉजी उपलब्ध कराई गई वीवो, इसने बहुत ही शानदार टेक्नोलॉजी है। एक ऐप है, ऐसा ऐप है जो हर घर के जब ऑटो टिपर जाता है तो उसके घर पे घंटी बजना शुरू हो जाती है 5 मिनट पहले, स्वच्छता का गीत उसके मोबाइल पर बज जाता है, और भी अब आपका ऑटो टिपर आने वाला है। उसके बाद देन अगर नहीं भी आता है तो वो अपने ऐप पर जाकर के सर्च कर सकता है कि मेरा ऑटो टिपर कितना दूर है और कब तक आएगा। तो ये टेक्नोलॉजी से लोगों में बहुत ही सहूलियत मिलती है। उस ऐप के माध्यम से वो कंप्लेंट भी कर सकते हैं कि हमारे यहाँ ऑटो टिपर नहीं आया, जो हमारा डेस्क बोर्ड है उस पर हमारे मैसेज मिलता है भी ये ऑटो टिपर क्यों नहीं आया, किस लिए। तो ये एक ऐसी टेक्नोलॉजी प्रोवाइड की जिससे कि वाकई इसको हमने नाम दिया सीकर मॉडल, क्योंकि ये स्टार्टअप सबसे पहले सीकर से शुरुआत हुआ। इस टेक्नोलॉजी के बारे में डिटेल जो मैं है टेक्निकल बातों के बारे में मिस्टर अभिनव आपको बहुत बेहतर तरीके से समझाएंगे। और ये देखो खाद के जो हमारे वो ढेर लगे हुए हैं, और ये खाद बहुत ही अच्छी खाद है और किसानों बहुत लाइक करते हैं। कुछ वीडियोस भी ऐसे हमने बनाई है जो यूट्यूब पर मैं डाल रहा हूं, तो हर कोई आदमी उसको देख सकता है। और एक अच्छा सॉल्यूशन प्रोवाइड करने का वीवो ने कोशिश की है और वो कामयाब हुए। थैंक यू वेरी मच। अब मैं अभिनव से बात करूंगा टेक्नोलॉजी।
Thank you so much, sir. So, at first I would like to tell here that when we started this startup, everyone told us that, what do you want to work with government, right? In fact, even today when we have scaled our operations to 11 ULBs, people tell us, you cannot scale it with government. So today, I feel that we are privileged that we, at our first step, we were able to get connect with Sravan sir, who has not only helped us in executing this, but he has also been our personal mentor, professional mentor. So with that, I want to explain how whenever we get into any city, how do we execute it. So as soon as we get in any city, we get the project, we first go to every household, we do the survey, and there are three main important things while doing the survey. First thing is we take the geolocation of each and every entity, be it a small thela, a small fruit seller also, or a big restaurant or hospital. We take the geolocations of that, we collect, we basically get the house type so that we can better plan our resource deployment, and then we install this RFID card on each and every household. Now, this use of RFID card in solid waste management, when we started it was new, but right now it is not something very innovative. A lot of other municipalities are also doing it. But the thing is that in most of those municipalities, there is no mechanism to make sure that on every day, 100% of the time, vehicle will go there. What happens in other municipalities, that RFID card is over there. If vehicle goes there and reads the RFID card, citizen will get the message. But there is no mechanism to ensure that he goes there every time. So how we do it differently is, we basically, while after collecting this data, we combine that data with our number of vehicles, what is the time we have to cover all the households. Also, we add up with other variables like how far is our secondary collection point, how far is the processing plant, and combining this data, we make most optimized route for every vehicle. Now this route, this is really interesting, this route is shown to application which is given to every driver of the vehicle, just like Ola and Uber. And we are proud that almost 80% of workers are illiterate, but still we have designed in our application in a way that if they can understand it, we hardly need a couple of days of training for them. So now when they have this application, the route is shown to them. Another really interesting point over here is that if in that route segment there are 15 households, then the vehicle conductor has to read all the RFID cards of those 15 households, and over that we can put a lot of other constraints, like if there is a big complex of 100 houses, so that particular vehicle shouldn't be allowed to move from there. He should at least spend 15 minutes, otherwise he's not collecting the waste. So we can put all those constraints that you need to spend this much time minimum, you cannot go with a speed higher than this. We can put all, you just imagine any type of constraint and we can put over there, and after following those constraints only, he will be able to move to the next line segment. With this, we basically make sure that on every day, 100% घरों पे हमारा vehicle जाता है. And with that, these are some of the photographs you can see over here. This is the data we collect. So there are mainly three targets we have over here. One is we want to give the social justice to our worker. All our workers are, we want them to feel like they are corporate employee. They wear the dresses, they get the social security, they get corporate account with accidental insurance, health benefits, everything they get. And second thing is that we want to bring transparency into the system. When I say transparency, what does that mean? All this data in real time goes to the cloud, and from that cloud, it is visible to all the citizens. Citizen can open their application, and from that application, they can see where their vehicle is. If they have any grievance, they can put over there. And I have a funny story. Interesting story.
Before, request you to kindly wrap
I'll wrap up in 30 seconds. So basically, in the application, there is an alarm before the vehicle, 5 minutes before the vehicle comes, which is really important for a person like my mother who used to run behind the vehicle before this, but now she gets that alarm. And second thing is that with this data, all the compliances, because all the municipalities have to give a lot of data to NGT to fill that compliances, all that data is there automatically solving all the NGT compliances. So, and another thing is they don't have to wait for the Swachhata Sarvekshan to know how the situation is over there. And really important thing over here is that this is a platform where all other services of startups and other organization can be plugged and played. How? So, because now we have the data at which area, what kind of wastage coming. So if you want to use the services of a startup which is really good in source segregation, or a startup which basically take care of single-use plastic, it can be plugged and play within our platform, because data helps us in taking right and more responsible decision over here. As Saumil sir was also saying that there is a data, but we need to analyze that to make more efficient decision. We have already been doing that. We have already been doing that with Sikar Municipal Corporation and 9 other ULBs in Rajasthan. And today from this dais, I want to invite all other startups as well as other authorities from municipalities to allow us to help you in making this more transparent and allow us to analyze your data to give you more efficient services. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Our final presentation will be from Sri Aziz Sheikh, Municipal Commissioner, Ulhasnagar Municipal Corporation, and Gen Robotics, who have created a product for manhole to machine hole transformation.
Girish, please play that presentation.
You can probably start while they are loading the PPT, if that is possible.
नमस्कार नमस्कार मैं अजीज शेख कमिश्नर उल्लासनगर मेरा टॉपिक है मैनहोल क्लीनिंग मैनहोल टू मशीन होल नेक्स्ट ये उल्लासनगर सिटी बॉम्बे के नज़दीक है अबाउट 50 किलोमीटर्स और यहाँ पर जो पॉपुलेशन है जनरली जो पार्टीशन जो हुआ था 1947 में वहाँ के जो माइग्रेंट्स है उनसे बना है पॉपुलेशन नेक्स्ट उल्लासनगर सिटी की इन ब्रीफ डिस्क्रिप्शन 13.50 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर इट इज़ वन ऑफ द स्मॉलेस्ट कॉरपोरेशन इन महाराष्ट्र बट डेंसली पॉपुलेटेड क्योंकि 6,25,000 प्रोजेक्टेड पॉपुलेशन है करंटली नेक्स्ट एग्जिस्टिंग अंडरग्राउंड सीवरेज सिस्टम के बारे में यहाँ पे थोड़ी जानकारी मैंने दिया है ये 30 इयर्स पहले हमारा ये सिस्टम बना था और 2005 में एक डेल्यूज हुआ था जिसमें अबाउट 50% ऑफ द सिस्टम वाज डैमेज्ड और अभी 3 STPs है और करंटली 3,750 चैम्बर्स है और 112 किलोमीटर की लाइन से है नेक्स्ट ए मैनुअल मेथड ऑफ क्लीनिंग के बारे में कुछ थोड़ा सा यहाँ पे हमने दिया है एक्चुअली दिस प्रैक्टिस इज बैंड एज पर MS एक्ट विच वाज पास्ड इन 2013 नेक्स्ट these are a few slides showing prevailing cleaning techniques. ये टेक्निक्स का यूज करने के बावजूद भी हमारे मैन पावर को मैन होल्स में जाना पड़ता है, चेम्बर्स में जाना पड़ता है और इसलिए हम एक सोल्यूशन की तलाश में थे। एक स्लाइड है दिस बैंडिकूट जेनरोबोटिक मशीन, ये हमने प्रोक्योर किया है उल्लासनगर म्यूनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन ने और दिस टेक्नोलॉजी मैनहोल क्लीनिंग रोबोट वाज डेवलप्ड बाय जेनरोबोटिक इनोवेटर्स प्राइवेट लिमिटेड केरला and it is able to clean underground sewer chambers on a daily basis with greater efficiency. उसका वीडियो है, वीडियो है, हाँ प्लीज वीडियो, ओके। these are a few social issues with manual cleaning and machine cleaning. Next. ये जो मशीन है हमने CSR फंड से प्रोक्योर किया है. इट्स ए PPP मॉडल और इसमें जो जिन्होंने पार्टिसिपेट किया टाटा ट्रस्ट है, टाटा EIG है, रिजेंसी ग्रुप्स है, सेंचुरी रेयन है, सदगुरु एंटरप्राइजेस है, बाबा डेवलपर्स है. ऐसे 5-6 लोगों के पास से हमने ये CSR फंड लिया है और उसमें से ये मशीन का जो कैपिटल कॉस्ट है हमने बियर किया है और जो ऑपरेशन एंड मेंटेनेंस का जो एक्सपेंसेस है वो कॉर्पोरेशन खुद बियर करे. We are paying 25 lakh rupees annually towards the company for maintenance for single machine. Next. एक की फीचर्स है जो हमारे स्टार्टअप है वो उसे कवर करेंगे. These are some technicalities that would be covered by the startup. एक कॉस्ट एनालिसिस हमने दिया है इस मशीन का. जब हम मैन्युअली करते हैं तो उसमें एक रफ एनालिसिस मैंने दिया है. This is as per 1.32 crores I am spending कॉर्पोरेशन में ऑन मैनुअल क्लीनिंग जो हमारे अकाउंट बुक से लिया गया है और इसमें the annual cost per chamber comes around 7,213 rupees. और बैंडिकूट मशीन यूज करने के बाद जो हमारा एक्सपेंसिस हुआ है जिसमें 1 करोड़ अगर हम 4 मशीन लेते हैं तो हमको ऑपरेशन एंड मेंटेनेंस के लिए 1 करोड़ रुपए लगेगा. एक मशीन की कीमत 40 लाख है. 4 मशीन के लिए अराउंड 1 करोड़ रुपीज लगेंगे लेकिन उसका जो लाइफ है that is around 10 years. So around 16 lakhs per year is the costing. Number of chambers are 1,813. So around 6,338 per chamber हमारा कॉस्टिंग रहेगा. और ये कॉस्टिंग हमारा और भी कम हो जाएगा क्योंकि हमारा जो स्टाफ है म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन का जो स्टाफ है उसको हम ट्रेन कर रहे हैं, कंपनी उनको ट्रेनिंग दे रही है. तो दिस विल ड्रास्टिकली कम डाउन व्हेन my peoples are trained. एक कंपैरिजन है मैनुअल स्कैवेंजिंग, रोबोटिक स्कैवेंजिंग. नेक्स्ट. इसका इनॉग्रेशन हमारे चीफ मिनिस्टर साहब जो अभी के हैं एकनाथ जी शिंदे साहब, वो पहले ऑनरेबल मिनिस्टर थे यूडी के, उस वक्त हुआ था 2021 में. और ये दोनों भी मशीन हमारे कॉर्पोरेशन में सिटी में ऑपरेट हो रहे हैं. नेक्स्ट. ये कुछ पिक्चर्स है, कुछ स्नैप्स है ऑन फील्ड वर्किंग के. थैंक यू.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And
request you to kindly restrict your presentation to maybe
sure,
2-3 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, no presentation. Okay, I'll just start without the presentation then. Okay, fine. First of all, my sincere thanks to Mohua and SBM for inviting us. And we actually I'm not going into detail and just skimming through the slides because everyone knows the problem, but I would like to say one word, which is the harsh reality in our India, unfortunately. At least one person is dying every 5 days in our country. Even last month also, as per the Ministry of Social Justice, news has, data has revealed, inside that also, till 2022, this is the same condition. So what we are trying to do is like, we are trying to remove the human intervention specifically for cleaning the manhole. Because we know in some situations, the human needs to enter into the cleaning manhole. I will just give in a small detail on the architecture of manhole, then only what our product will do, that will get explained. Because the manhole is created in a way that the entry diameter will be very smaller, let's say 600 mm, but the inner diameter, which will be higher, let's say it will be 900 mm or 1200 mm. So it will be like that, bigger. So as the name indicates manhole, man have to enter into this and they need to clean this hole. That's why everyone, we can understand why it is calling it as a manhole. Now there's a good part is like now the government of India has already put forward that now onwards it has to be called as machine hole. That concept is like the machine has to clean this hole. That's a great and really appreciable thing. So we have invented a robot called a Bandicoot, which is the world's first robot for cleaning manholes without any human intervention. So specifically saying about its major part, that's the robotic arm, because as a human doing inside the manhole cleaning, here the robot having a robotic arm which will collect all the wastes from the corners and pick the wastes like however a human is doing, likewise only, and it can go to the corners and then grab all the wastes, and there will be a bucket system which will collect all the wastes and will come out. And this is the same model where a human is also entering, or a sanitation worker is entering there and doing that works. But the problem is like there will be gas traps will be inside the manhole. Once it comes out, and in 10 minutes, hardly in 10 minutes, this worker will die. That is the harsh reality. So we have created this robot and with the gas sensors and everything. So the major part, if I'm saying that whatever a human doing, so the intelligence of a human, we are doing it doing in the robot with the artificial intelligence. Likewise the vision, that we are using the machine here. And the human hand, as I mentioned, robotic arm we are using. And the most important, the experience. This experience of sanitation workers we are taking it through the machine learning. So we are using the topmost and all the advanced features and which is available in our world that we are taking through the robotics. So as I mentioned, so to be more precise on the features, so right now whatever the technology is having all the cities which will be like grabbing machines or something like this human working, so which can be able to clean just from the center of the manhole or just grab the wastes from the center only, but not able to take the wastes from the corners or the side, which will be, we can say that only 20% of the manhole will be getting cleaned. So here through our mission or through our robot, we can ensure the 100% of the cleaning. And likewise, we can see everything from outside. There are cameras already equipped with the robot, so we can see everything from outside. And likewise, the gas sensors also we have given, so that whatever the poisonous gases are there, that we can see. And there's one more important fact is there, that's the robotic legs, because when a robot or any machine, if you're putting inside a hole, a plain hole, it will start floating or it will start oscillating because of the gravity after particular, let's say after 2 meters, it will start oscillating. So we can remove only if we give a self-stability. By human, we have that stability. That's why I'm standing here. So likewise, for the robots, we are giving the robotic legs. So that itself, it will be like a self-stability because the robotic legs will be fitting on the walls of the manhole. Then it will be entering into any deep. Even if it's an 8 meter or 10 meter, no problem for our robotic system. And I'm glad to say that it is launched in 2018 in presence of our Honorable Prime Minister and UN Secretary General. Because we have started our company in 2017, just after the Startup India launching. Because the Startup India, Swachh Bharat, it have motivated the young people like us. Just after the college itself, it motivated us to come out to start something, whatever in our mind, that will be turned, or an engineering mindset can be turned into solving problem solvers. And also we have received the recognition from Amrud also for our robot. And currently we are working in 16 states, and including the many corporations like Indore, Surat, and Ulhasnagar, as sir mentioned, and Pune. Yeah. So actually, I'm not going into in detail about the other part. I'm concluding myself. Yeah, I'll just show you now one more thing. This is about the social impact, how we are creating. We are not only providing a technology for solving the issue of this cleaning manhole, but also we are training the sanitation workers to operate the robot. It will hardly take 2 days to train them. And we have created our user interface with the support of Google. And now any sanitation worker can easily operate the robot. And apart from that, we are giving the safety measures and also medical camps for this, and empowering the family as well. As in the beginning itself, as JS Madam mentioned, and the Navi Mumbai Commissioner was also mentioning about a few things about what is startup and what is the agenda of to create the technologies. It's basically empowering the human beings to a better and a dignified life, and that's what we are trying to provide. And I would like to conclude my presentation here with showing a real case study Um, yeah, this is the whole scenario which we are doing right now and which is already getting implemented across India. Here, the first picture which is taken, sorry, it is gone. The first picture which is a sanitation worker, and then right now we have turned into a robot operator. That's the simple thing. Thank you.
Thank you. And before we conclude, I think Kannur Municipal Corporation would like 2 more minutes to present their case. Just 2 minutes, sir, if it's okay with you. Thank you.
Good afternoon to all. Our Mayor, Mr. T.O. Mohanan, already explained what was the previous situation before we came into action and what is the current situation of Kannur Corporation. From we transformed the entire activity of door-to-door collection from 0% to now 100%, and the waste which was collecting before, it was going to landfill 100%, and now it is fully segregated and going for recycling and other activity. So I simply explained how our system work as per our strategy. So once we are getting in association with any ULB, we will map the entire shops, residents, commercials, and even the street vendors using our software into the system. And the waste picking team who's going for the waste picking, they will make sure that they are entering the data of what is happening in that particular site. Like they will make sure that the waste is being segregated and kept separate, like we are segregating in a few different types like plastics, glass, bags, chappals, e-waste and all. So there will be a schedule for those collection also, and these schedules will be informed to the common public through our WhatsApp and other systems, so that people will make it kept separate and make it ready for picking. So if any citizen or any shops or commercials which is not cooperating with the system, the waste picking team, they have the option to mark in the software, so that so-and-so residence or so-and-so shop is commercial is not cooperating with the system. So that this data will move to the next level for ward councillors and other officials like junior health inspectors, so that they can analyze this data and make sure that those who are not cooperating with the system, they will be educated properly and brought back to the network. So from the waste collection, it goes to the picking by the vehicle who is going to pick from the customer side. So if those waste pickers who collect the waste, they will keep for picking ready by the vehicle, and they will mark that position to the by their application, so that the driver who's going to pick the waste, he will get the intimation in the mobile, so showing the route, best route to go there and pick the item, so that he will pick the item. Also, the waste picking team, they will mark the user fee collection as well as the weight of the material what they are collecting from that, so that once this material is transported by the driver to the respective warehouse, we will have the data in the warehouse. We have the warehouse stock data, so that we will understand in the warehouse what all different type of materials are there and what are the weight of the material, so that if you, for example, if you are collecting glass, if it crosses 8 tons, so that we will have an idea that we need to arrange a truck for the transportation. So we will find the recyclers for the glass, and we will transport to the end user. That was the system. It's working. That's how it works. And I would like to share an incident which happened yesterday to conclude my presentation. Our honorable mayor, he came here yesterday evening. So during night we go and visit him to have a look of brief about the today's program. But the first question what he asked is, what about the number of visit happened this month? because of Onam and other festivals, the visit happening, the collection happening was little low, that he can see in his mobile that in his ULB, what is the position of waste collected. So we told them that coming next 2 weeks, more people will be deployed, and it will be completed 100% by the month end. This is what the real picture of what our system, so that the entire ULB team as well as our team can collaboratively work and make sure that the entire things are happening. Also, Kannur Corporation, we are working in association with IUDX also, and our waste collecting data of Kannur Corporation, we are pushing to IUDX server also. By, I think, Kannur will be the first non-metro city in India to push the waste collection data to the IUDX server.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. I would like to request Sri Binay Jha to present mementos to all the presenters. That was a wonderful set of presentations that we heard in terms of the collaboration and the partnership that ULBs and startups are using to solve problems on the ground. Thank you. We've now come to the end of the morning sessions. I would like to request all those present here to proceed to the lunch area. We will be reassembling back at 2:30 for the afternoon sessions. I would also strongly urge you to take this opportunity to go and visit the exhibition outside, because that demonstrates all the innovative solutions the startups have come up with. And we'll see you back sharp at 2:30. Thank you.
स्वच्छ भारत का इरादा कर लिया हमने, देश से अपने ये वादा कर लिया हमने। स्वच्छ भारत का इरादा कर लिया हमने।
भारत का इरादा कर लिया हमने, देश से अपने ये वादा कर लिया हमने।
स्वच्छ भारत का इरादा कर लिया हमने, देश से अपने ये वादा कर लिया हमने।
हमसे निकलेगी स्वच्छता की एक नदी, छल 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 कल 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 कल, एक धुली सी जिंदगी। स्वच्छता की जोत लेकर घर घर जाएंगे, साफ सुथरी रोशनी में सब नहाएंगे।